Welcome to DAX Machina, with your hosts, Naoma Finn, Steve Wildman Munrodis, and D.A. Roberts. Join us as we explore writing, books, authors, and all things horror. We will delve into the sightings, reports, encounters, and tales of monsters. We will also explore the writings of D.A. Roberts along with others in the horror genre. We will investigate the possibilities that monsters may not be safely locked away in the pages of books. They might just walk among us even now. Grab some popcorn and lock the doors. It's going to be a creepy journey. Welcome to DAX Machina.
Good evening, folks. Thank you guys for joining us on this Wednesday edition of DAX Machina. We got a great show for you tonight, folks. Joining me tonight is my partner in crime, Anthony, my brother from another mother, Carrie Pocket Doc Davis, courtesy of Dark Angel Medical. Doc, how the hell are you?
Wyatt, I am rolling.
Awesome. And joining us tonight is a very special guest. We have Ryan Paul Tremblay. He comes to us straight from the Monster Radio podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, you need to. The description and link to his podcast is in the description for this show, and I'll be sharing the link periodically. And we are going to be talking about the Gugwe, the big baddie of the Bigfoot world.
Yes.
And before I jump in, I want to say hi to a few people that are jumped in. Eli Harrison, thank you guys for jumping in. Eric Ogle, thanks. Hank Hill, Meg Mills, Josh Dalton, good evening, General. George Jennings, Tony Harris, Irene Duet, Paul Routio. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, man. Hey, Fred. Fred in Alaska is with us in the house.
What's up, Fred?
Irene, Pamela Mann, Susan Parsons, Tony Harris. There's Meg again. Now, I think that's everybody that's popped in so far, but everybody else that's popping in. Hey, Werewolf 5674 is here, and Still Crazy Chris, and Chev. I guess Chevrolet person. How's it going, folks? I hope you guys enjoy the show tonight, and we are going to be talking Gugwe, the big ugly SOB over my shoulder back there.
All right.
So, without further ado, pardon my French, we will jump right into this. Ryan, what got you interested in the Gugwe?
You know, actually, what really caught my interest with them was that movie Primal Rage, A Legend of Oma. You know, when I first saw that movie, I was like, man, that thing is savage, dude. What kind of Bigfoot is that supposed to be? And I started hearing about the Gugwe from different people like Brian Duke Sullivan, Matt Squatch, you know, and so I just jumped right into that rabbit hole, man. I was just like, wow, these things are terrifying. I need to know more.
Yeah, these things are nasty.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, it's not like your Patty type. You see Patty and you're always thinking, oh, gentle giant, docile as can be, just walks away from everybody. The Gugwe come right at you, and I'm like, you know, what makes them so different here? You know, it's a fascinating subject. It really is.
Well, a lot of the Native American lore on the Gugwe, they mention attacks. And there have been a few modern stories of attacks, but I think why there aren't as many stories is because there's so few survivors.
Yeah,
I think if one of these things gets a hold of you, you're basically done.
Well, according to the old Micmac traditions, the oral traditions, the Gugwe, back then they were called the Gugwe, okay? Mm-hmm. Back in those days, these things used to set traps for the braves and the hunters that would go out, and then they got so bold where they were coming into the villages to kidnap the kids.
That falls right in line with that movie Primal Rage. Yeah. I mean, they were setting traps using bows and arrows, bone tomahawks. Right. And that's why I really like that movie, because even though it's a fictionalized story, it falls right in line with a lot of those traditions. And it's not just the Micmac that have stories. There's like 8 or 9 different spellings of the Gugwe. There's the Gugwe, the Gugwe, the Gugwe. There's like all the tribes in that region had like 7 or 8 different spellings of this word. But they all describe this same nasty creature with a pronounced snout and claws.
Yup. Some of them call it the bear man because, you know, the snout, it makes it look like a bear, you know, so it's just, you can tell just by names like that. There's a lot in a name when it comes to Native American tradition. Always pay attention to the names.
Yeah, whatever when it means space eater, pay attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, bear man, they didn't call it bear man just based on looks. They based it on behavior as well, because these things would come right at you like an angered bear. So hence the name bear man. So you really do have to pay attention to the names.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the things that struck me is if you look at the Type 3 Variant 3 of the Dogman, this quote-unquote 7 types of Dogman, I think a lot of the cases that have been reported as Dogman are basically misidentified Gugwe. Because if you look at that one, that does not look canine in any way, shape, or form. It's got the pronounced snout like a mandrill. And the reason I think this is because most Dogman encounters talk about them having digitigrade feet or like the dog hawk legs.
Right.
Whereas that version is always seen as having plantigrade like humans and Bigfoot. So I think that particular type is just a misidentified Gugwe. So there may be more accounts out there than people realize.
Oh yeah, I think the Gugwe encounters are far more abundant than people like to admit too. You know, because I think like Dogman is a cool thing to see. You know, when you see a Dogman, everybody's like, "Oh God, tell me your story." What if you say it's a Gugwe? People are kind of like, you know, I don't think you saw anything. You know. So I think it gets changed to Dogman, but yeah, I would definitely agree with you that one type is not a Dogman at all.
That's exactly what I think. But here's the interesting bit about that is, you know, the oral traditions on those things. Again, they call them the face eater. When the Native Americans talk about this particular type, there are no good, happy stories. It's not like, you know, one of them showed up and brought somebody a basket of fish because they were felt bad for them. You know, these things are more like to snatch your head right off your shoulders and carry your corpse off.
Yeah, well, I mean, have you ever heard of Nahanni Valley?
Yeah, the Headless Valley, exactly.
Yeah,
one of the native encounters I heard about, Gugwe described it running up behind a warrior who was fleeing, grabbing it by the back of the head. Grabbing him by the back of the head, and when they pushed him forward, as the guy started to stumble forward, it yanked back and took the head straight off.
Oh, that's nice.
That's like a Mortal Kombat fatality right there, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Damn.
So that would easily explain the Nahanni Valley. And you know, there's a valley in the Superstition Mountains that has the same thing happening.
Yeah.
People that go into that valley, they find the bodies without heads.
Right. And you know, and it makes sense that they go after the face though, because the face is a quick kill. You know, if you want to dispatch
there's a lot of nutrients in the skull.
Yeah, the eyes and the soft tissue, the tongue, the eyes, you know, the brain. Yeah, that's where you get all the nutrients that you want. So it'd be perfect for a large predator like that.
Eat it like an apple.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Doc's like, nope. Hell no.
I got a pill for him. Doc's got a pill for him.
458 enema.
That's it. There, right there. 458
Wow.
I got to say, if that doesn't do the trick, you're in for a bad day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What if you make him mad, dude? What if you you miss your shot and it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, I will do my best not to miss. Otherwise, I'm going to be Gugwe poop. So
That's it.
that's about it. You know.
See, I just figure I would play dead, dude. Maybe he'd show sympathy. I just curled up into the fetus position. You know, just please don't.
Well, we were joking earlier before the show. You know, your only option at that point is try and taste bad. Carry a bottle of Frank's Red Hot and I'm not going down easy.
Well, how you like Pocket Doc with a little bit of poo? So
That's it.
crapping all over myself.
Hoping the bear does like that Ron White joke. Well, that's just nasty.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about it, man, you know, we've been talking about that Gugwe on several shows. They don't seem too benevolent, man. I don't know if they would have any mercy in their makeup.
No,
So,
probably not.
They seem so aggressive.
Well,
yeah, the stories I've heard, they're not good in any way. They're not gentle or docile or even have any mercy or anything like that. So.
Well, a lot of Bigfoot researchers, you get these encounters, and I'm not going to take away from anybody's point of view. Everybody's experience is unique, but you get these people that have been gifting with certain Bigfoots, or had peaceful multiple encounters. Me personally, it'd be like feeding a black bear that comes up on your porch. I just would not feed a wild animal.
Yeah,
I can't, because I would think it would end badly. However, there are people that have done it for years successfully, and have had a measure of success. But I don't think those are Gugwe.
No,
I think those are more like the Patterson Gimlin type, or possibly the Relic hominin type.
Right.
But I don't think that's Gugwe. I think Gugwe's like, oh, somebody left this. Well, let's just follow their scent back to their house and get the big crunchy bits.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. I spoke to a dude who was doing that on his property, and for a while he said the Gugwe were actually kind of docile around him, But what I noticed about his story is they would only come out and show themselves when his little girl was playing.
That's
So
everybody says that.
Yo,
Everybody's been saying that.
Oh, they were probably waiting for him to leave her unattended.
That's what I
Kids.
told
Snatch
him. I
her
was
up
like,
and
yo,
she's gone.
Something
I
with
was
these
like,
kids.
don't ever let that happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're small, easy targets, man. You know?
Well, I mean,
We
I
get
think
some
they're
pretty good
smart enough to
comments.
know.
Hi, Lenita. Let's see. We've got a question up here. Sorry, I missed that one. Ellen Harrington says, where are Gugwe located or are being sighted? They're being seen everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, some of them started in Maine. Now they're being seen in California, Mexico, Texas.
Micmac
It's like they're
tradition
moving-
would have put them at like basically the Great Lakes areas.
Yep.
But that's where it just started. They're being seen as in the big thicket of East Texas, the
Yep.
swamps of Louisiana. They've been seen here in Missouri. So pretty much anywhere.
There's some accounts here in Arizona too. So
What
Fred
about Colorado?
Velasquez says, I'd never feed them anything but a high velocity lead copper diet.
Fred's a smart man, dude.
Yeah.
No.
What I'm talking about, man.
So Ryan, how about Colorado? Any Gugwe sightings in Colorado?
I think there's been like one or two over in Colorado, but not too many.
Okay.
And even those are never docile over in Colorado either. I actually spoke to one guy from Colorado, and according to him, these things were actually throwing rocks at him. They were chasing him down just to throw rocks at him. Like they were trying to knock him out, I think. That's what I think they had in mind.
Okay.
Well,
So-
Paul Rauschio says, guys, are they as prolific as Sasquatch or not? What regions of the United States? Well, we kind of covered that a bit, but I don't think they're quite as common as most Sasquatch sightings. But here's why. Because they're seen in a lot of the areas of the missing 411 areas, I think most encounters with a Gugwe wind up with a missing 411 case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with
Agreed.
that.
I would
And
totally
what about-
agree.
Because they're not friendly.
No.
What about
no,
the
definitely not.
cave systems? Have you? Is it more sightings around cave systems and
Yeah, from what
That's-
I've gathered from my research, yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, because in Arizona, we have a lot of caves.
Okay.
And here in Arizona, there's a multitude of different cryptid sightings. You got Dogman, you got the Mogollon Monster, you even got things that resemble the Chupacabra. So I think it's because of cave systems that these things are able to hide out and be in such larger numbers and not really get accounted for.
Well, if you look at this map, that's the David Paulides map of the superclusters of missing, and the map beneath it is the map of known cave systems. A lot of those caves extend for miles and miles. David Paulides, in the missing 411 cases, he never says what he thinks it is. He kind of just presents the information, and that's what I really like about him. He presents the information and lets you decide which one of these cases could have been something natural or which cases. But he only presents the really weird cases that meet certain criteria.
You know what story always stuck out to me, though, from David Paulides was the Dennis Martin story.
The Dennis Martin story, that was in West Virginia, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, just
The
hearing
little
that
kid that went
story.
missing?
Yeah, that story just screams some kind of Sasquatch or some hominid-like cryptid. The way they saw a tall figure in fur. It's just, I don't know. A lot of people say no, it wasn't Bigfoot, but yeah, I think.
Well, it's the same thing I said last week to them. Why are these special ops teams showing up at the 411 missing areas?
Right.
And they don't call in special forces teams just for missing kids.
No, they're not going to do that. So something's going on that they know about.
Well, I mean, like in the Dennis Martin case, it was really odd how the Army was only searching at night.
Right.
What were they looking for only at night? If you're looking for a little kid that just went missing, you're going to go during the day, naturally. But if you're looking at night, you're looking for something, and it's not that kid. You're not looking for that child by any means.
Right.
So
I don't think they expected to find the kid. I think they were looking for what took it.
Right. I agree.
Well,
and
then also
the FBI
very
agent,
close to that same area, just a few years ago, that kid that went missing and said he spent 3 days in the woods with a bear.
A bear
So
taking
bear
care
in
of
the
him.
wintertime was eating that kid.
Yup, absolutely.
With this bear,
Absolutely.
kept the kid warm, and
And he said he
and
carried
kept-
him.
carried
and
him
the
and
wood.
brought him home.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now,
picked
that's
berries for
that's
him,
definitely
too.
not a Gugwe. That's not Gugwe behavior. Gugwe would have been like,
Yeah, it's not Dogman behavior either. I would think if there's a little kid out there, Dogman's going to snatch him up and do what he's got to do.
That's something else I wanted to point out is Gugwe look, except for the snout, they look more like Sasquatch, but their behavior is closer to Dogman because Dogman encounters are not peaceful. Dogmen are predators. And that's the same case with these gugway. I think these gugways are just straight up predators.
Right.
You look at bears for an example, and bears are a perfect little microcosm. You get the black bears, which their range is pretty far south. They're omnivorous. They'll eat berries and roots and insects and whatever else. They'll eat roadkill. They'll eat whatever they can find. And if things get lean, they are more than capable of hunting. About the only time you ever hear a black bear attacking a person is if they've been doing something stupid like trying to hand feed it, or somebody gets between it and a cub.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only time you ever hear of a black bear attacking. Move a little farther north, we run into grizzly bears. Grizzly bears are opportunistic. Yeah, they'll eat berries and stuff, but they much prefer a big belly full of meat.
Yep.
They do take the occasional hiker or
absolutely. They'd be dumb not to.
They're not above it, and especially if it's getting close to hibernation season, they're going to take what they can get. And if it comes between chasing a deer that can run at 35 miles an hour, or some guy listening to Fleetwood Mac on his iPod, walking around in his Birkenstocks, it's going to go for the guy in the Birkenstocks.
Right.
That tickled me. Sorry, I just pictured some of the hikers I've seen in Boulder on Chautauqua Mountains.
Right.
Dude's not even paying attention. He's just walking along with his earphones in and
bear hug.
Yeah, bear hug. Come here, let me give you a hug. Hey, oh, boo boo.
Hey, boo boo.
I'll give you a face hug with my mouth.
That's right.
Oh my God.
But then you go farther north and you get to the polar bears, and they're just straight up carnivores. They don't they don't eat berries because a lot of them don't exist up there. They don't eat grass. They don't eat insects. They eat fish. They eat seals. They eat smaller mammals like foxes or anything they can catch, and the occasional slow Inuit.
Yep. Slow seal hunters.
If your snowmobile breaks down, guess what?
You're screwed.
Yeah. You better hope you're well armed because they're coming. So I think that's the same thing with Bigfoot. I mean, I think so. You've got some that are far less aggressive, like the black bears. Then you get to the next bigger category, and anytime you've got a large-framed animal, like and even moose, for example, they have to take in a great deal more calories than their smaller counterparts. So the easiest way to do that for a Bigfoot creature would be meat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then you go to a slightly colder climate, and you start seeing ones that solely exist on meat. And I think that's where stories like the Wendigo come from, and the Genoskwa, and the Gugwe.
Yep, absolutely. And I think maybe the Gugwe, too, they're just so used to the meat diet that even when they come to the warmer parts, they're like, hey, man, we know what's good. The plants aren't good. The berries suck, but those hikers, those are really good eating.
Yeah. Well, it's you got an animal that weighs upwards of 800 to 1,000 pounds. A handful of berries is not going to fill the belly.
No.
Now,
I mean,
again, run into the dude playing Fleetwood Mac on his iPod.
Yeah. I mean, dude, come on. A handful of berries to one of them suckers like throwing a fat kid a Pez. That's just going to pick
Exactly.
He's going to eat the guy in the Birkenstocks, and then 15 minutes later, he's going to be like a Lur from Futurama. He's like, whoa, that hippie's starting to kick in. Whoa.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
So many jokes tonight. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, we try to toss in some humor, especially when we manage to stay on topic.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
give it about an hour and a half. It'll be
maybe not even that long. Sometimes we get off subject pretty quickly. We do it so frequently. We've actually got a custom T-shirt we made for the show. It says "Embrace the Topic."
Yeah, we have a habit of chasing shiny red balloons.
Yeah.
Oh, you too, huh?
We'll get off on a tangent.
A little bit.
No, I got things, man.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Ryan.
Sure.
So, when were the earliest? I know there's been a lot of Sasquatch sightings dating way back. What are some of the earliest recorded Gugwe sightings?
Well, as far as like white settlers go, the reports started in the 1900s, but the reports with the Micmacs go way, way, way back.
The Micmacs go back before European settlers.
Yeah, they go really far back, and they tell tales of these things coming into their villages to steal kids from the teepees, from the homes, and they actually had a very cruel method of hunting. They would actually whistle to kind of let the people know that they were coming. It's almost like they were tormenting them. It was this really, really high-pitched whistle, and they would all do it as they're coming into the village to get the people, so the people would scatter. That's when they just come in and get them.
William Bedard says gave us a super chat. Says that, are they the same as little people? Not really.
No.
They're way too big, but they're also pretty lethal. Fred in Alaska says, here in Alaska, I haven't heard of any. However, the Sasquatch are aggressive here.
Oh yeah, Port Lock, Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah, he had Fred on a couple weeks ago, and his story was horrific. I mean,
William Bedard gave us another super chat. Says money for a new hat for DA. It looks like this is my Kolchak hat. I can't get rid of this hat. It's my favorite hat. It's a little misshapen because it's been beaten to hell, but I love this hat. That's my Carl Kolchak hat. And this year's the 50th anniversary of Kolchak the Night Stalker, so I can't get rid of this hat.
You gotta pay homage, man. You gotta pay homage.
Absolutely.
Lene's got a good question.
Well, Tanya says, I'm repeatedly drawn to the photo of the Beast of Seven Shoots. Just when I convince myself that it's pareidolia, I clearly see a gugway. And we'll get to that here in just a second. What was the question Lene had? Here it is. Have you guys discussed the differences between gugway and Genosqua?
Oh, wow. Lene, I absolutely love you for that question. That is fantastic. Okay, well, the Genosqua, those are the stone giants. And they went by the names of Yahe'are. Okay, that's what the natives called them. What these guys were known for, unlike Gugwe, Genosqua would roll in the sap of different trees. Then they would roll in river rocks to create like an oblique kind of armor, so that when the Algonquins shot their flint arrows at them, it would just bounce off. So these guys were incredibly, incredibly smart. If these were actual real Bigfoot, these things were just off the charts with intelligence. Okay, they knew how to make armor so that nothing could get through, until the guns arrived. And once guns arrived, they had to go, oh crap, and go back into the wilderness.
All right, Ryan, I got a question. Has there been any accounts of these things using primitive weapons?
That was going to be my question, Anthony. Good
yes. Yes. Yeah, people have seen them using, sharpened sticks and even stones that they've actually fashioned into sharp points.
And traps.
And traps as well. So, they know what they're doing. They're very efficient killers.
Okay.
Christian Arredondo says, any Bigfoots along the border in Texas? Yeah, there's actually a lot of dogman stories told by the Border Patrol, especially in the Arizona desert.
Yep.
That's near the border.
That's my home turf right there, DA. You stay away from there, man.
Damien K says, any pictures of Gugwe?
Yeah, we got some ready to go.
And I will get to that here in just a second. I want to make sure. I'm catching up all the comments. Sal says we should all buy a hat like that. It could be a symbol of being part of the DA universe.
All for that.
I can post the link. It's an actual authentic collectible. If you look on the inside, it's the Night Stalker INS.
I like that. I want one of those. I'm stealing your hat, by the way.
Absolutely. I should buy another one that's in good shape and put it up and just wear this one when I go in the field.
The one that's worn out makes it look authentic, dude.
Oh, absolutely. Carl's hat got beat to hell.
Oh, there you go. Well,
so on that note, let me get rid of the chat bubble.
Well, you got Ashley. Is it Ashley? Yeah, made a comment to Ryan.
Where is it? Missed it.
Says you're handsome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, man.
Well, Ashley's pretty cute herself, so
Dating with DA on his show. There you go.
There we go.
Wish that got a new show going.
There you go.
We get Doc to do the screening for everyone.
There we go.
That'd work.
Yeah.
We somebody mentioned the Beast of Seven Shoots just a little bit ago.
Yep.
And this is the more grainy picture, but you can still clearly see it. And what cracks me up is you can see the dog it's got under its arm. Ryan, do you want to tell the story of Beast of Seven Shoots?
Yeah, what happened is a guy went out and he was actually just shooting wildlife. He was shooting the scenery, and he snapped a total of 76 pictures. And he didn't know this thing was actually there until he was developing these pictures. So he went and looked through all the rest of the photos. It wasn't there. So this thing just happened to be passing through, saw him taking these photos, stopped to take a look at him. Now, the dog you see in the hand, though, it's very interesting because a woman did report a medium breed dog was missing just a few hours before this photo was taken.
Unreal.
and it's pretty clear. I mean, even without the lines on the picture beneath, you can look at that and see every one of those details. Yeah, it's a little fuzzy because the guy was not focusing on this. He was taking
he was just kind of
this is the area he was taking the picture of. Had he been concentrating on the Gugway, he would have zoomed in on it and it would have been better in focus. But he was just taking landscape shots.
Yep, and he even went back there.
It was there until later.
Yeah, he went back to check to see if it was still there, and it was not there when he returned. So obviously, whatever it was had moved on by the time he got back, and his girlfriend went with him too, so they could do height gauges. So I do believe that's a Gugwe. I really do. Some people say it's a log, a tree stump. I don't think it's a log or a tree stump. I really don't.
Well, Mark posted a comment, and apparently I missed it. I was flipping between images, so I'm sorry, Mark. I missed your comment. I'm looking back for it. I'm not seeing it.
Uh-oh.
Huh. Sorry, Mark. I'm not seeing it. I have to scroll back even farther. You guys will just give me just a second.
What road?
There we go. I found it. It says most people will see them. It's the last thing they see. I would definitely agree because Gugwe are more predatory.
Yeah,
they're hunting.
Yep, they are. They definitely are. They're the dangerous type you don't want to run into.
And I missed a question too. It was up here above Nightbot. Oh yeah, this was for you, Ryan. Tony Harris says, Ryan, where in Arizona are you? I was at Lake Havasu most of the winter.
Oh, okay, cool, very cool. I'm in Benson actually. Benson, Arizona, southern Arizona.
That's down in the area around Tucson, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about an hour away from Tucson. Yep.
That's an interesting area.
It's a small town. It's a very small town. It's a little boring at times, but it's got its charms.
I remember them telling us that there were camels out there. I'm like, there ain't no camels out there. It's Arizona. Come to find out, yes, there are.
Yeah. I hate to say you're wrong, but yeah, there are.
Yeah, back when the cavalry was chasing the Apache, they were riding their horses to death trying to catch the Apache, so they decided they'd try to use camels. Well, they couldn't make it work, so they just let them go. And they released a few hundred camels out into the Arizona desert, and the population went crazy. So there are wild herds of camels all over southern Arizona.
Yep.
Nymeria asked a question. She says, do you think that Gugwe is a type of dogman? I think it's been listed among the types of dogman. In fact, I'll bring that picture up again. But I don't really think it's a dogman. I think it's just misidentified. Oh, we lost somebody.
Oh, we lost somebody. Yep.
Lost Anthony.
Yeah, I think it's just a misidentified thing. I don't really think that Gugwe and dogman are one and the same.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the sightings of this Type 3 Variant 3 are misidentified and labeled as dogman, but I think they're actually Gugwe.
Yeah, and Mark, Meg posted it, said she saw his other statement, said Mandrill and Gugwe act similar.
Yep.
So
sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. I had to sneeze. Mandrills are very aggressive.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. A lot of people underestimate how aggressive primates can be, but chimpanzees, mandrills, baboons, you don't want to mess with those.
Exactly. Fred in Alaska says, hey, everyone, have a great night. Enjoyed the show, but I got videos to record and some other stuff, but I'll catch you guys around. Fred, thanks for being here, buddy. Have a good night, dude.
Night, Fred.
Deadman says, I go through Benson all the time with my company. Cool.
Hey, stop by someday, Deadman.
There we go. Tony Harris says, U.S. Army Camel Corps at Quartzsite, Arizona.
Yeah. Poke. I'm poking you back, Maria.
I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any questions.
I think Ashley had one further down.
Let me, whoa. Got a $50 super chat from William Bedard. Says, thanks for taking the hat jokes well. Really enjoy your channel. A little research support. Stay safe. I appreciate it, brother.
Wow.
Nice.
I will admit I do have some dog ugly hats. But I do have some really cool ones too. I've got some really awesome ones that have the Dark Angel Medical logo on them.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
I'm trying to find it.
Hey, he's back.
Back here on my show.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know. The thing went haywire and it just kicked me right off. That was weird.
Oh, it's the Gugwe dude. They don't like us
Yeah.
talking about him. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not.
Ashley Hill says, I can ask again, does Ryan think the Beast of Seven Shoots is actually holding a poodle or something else?
You know, that's funny, actually. I've actually heard it's either a dog or a pig. Personally,
I said that too.
yeah, I think it's a dog, but, you know, I do see where the whole pig thing comes from. But no,
I'll
I
bring my
definitely
picture
think it's a
back
type
up
of
again.
dog.
If I can find it, give me a second. Where's it at? There we go. I'm thinking dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's too long of a tail for a pig. You know, so, yeah, I think it's a type of dog. I really do.
Poor little thing.
Yeah, poor doggo.
That's
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing that Gugwe does not want to mess with me, man. Don't mess with my dog, because I will fight you.
I'm the same way.
That's me.
Mhm.
Facts.
Yep.
Tony Harris has given us a little history. He says in the 1850s, the camel pulled 2 times the weight than the mule teams, the same distance in half the time. Unfortunately, camels are just really not well tempered. Of course,
No, they're
mules are
ornery little
either.
bastards, dude.
They're
Camels are
nasty,
They are.
nasty.
Mhm.
They're ornery and they stink, man. I
Yeah,
rode
they
on
do.
They'll
one.
spit on you. They will
I
spit
rode-
on you, too.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
will. I rode on one out in Egypt, man, and that thing.
You been to
was not-
Egypt? Damn.
Yeah, we were flying patients in, and we landed in Cairo East or Cairo West. I can't remember, one of the air bases out there, and we were meeting an aircraft from Germany to offload the patient, and we got to spend an extra couple of days there, so got to see the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx and rode camels around.
Wow.
It was pretty
That's
rad,
cool.
man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was-
Namiria, I think he said that when he did the measurements, it was about 7.5, almost 8 feet tall.
It looks like he's a pretty good sized individual.
Yeah.
See that? You could see it, the dog, much clearer in that picture right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it's looking right at the cameraman, too, there's just something very eerie about that stare.
Right.
That's,
You know, the
that's
fact that you can't see its eyes, I think that adds to it, because you can tell it's looking at him without seeing its eyes.
that's a big old boy right there.
With the
That is a very big boy.
the eye bridge, the ridge on his brow.
If that was
so
a medium
pronounced.
breed dog, say approximately a 50-pound dog, it's holding one hand like we would
Yeah.
a Pekingese.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Only we wouldn't hold the Pekingese ass up.
yeah.
Yep.
That's a big boy.
Imagine how much it must weigh, though. I mean, wait, how much do you think that is, DA?
I would guess probably between 800 and 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
easily.
It'd be a heavy boy, a very heavy boy. So,
Ronan Barron asks, hey, Ronan, buddy, thanks for joining us. He says, is there any trail cam footage of Gugwe? I not that I know of.
yeah, not that I'm
and
aware
I'll tell
of.
you why. What it seems to be the case is we've noticed that that deer will react to the IR signature of trail cams.
Yep.
I think not only can these creatures, these Bigfoot and Gugwe creatures, detect the IR signature, I think they actively avoid it. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of cases that people have those IR activated motion lights on their house, they will go out and at the edge of the barrier where the border where the lights will get activated, they'll find sticks shoved in the ground so they'll know how close to approach.
Yep. Well, it's not the first time my primate would actually avoid the camera, though. It's what Billy apes did, too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's avoided them for a long
Yeah,
time.
we were just
Yeah.
talking about that. Yeah, that thing's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And I was actually watching, Angie and I were watching a show on the Alaskan Triangle last night about this guy that was out looking for Bigfoot up there, and he caught some game activity where a deer was like looking, he was alerted on something, and in one of the next photos you can see the camera had actually been pushed off to the side and pointed down.
I seen that,
And-
Doc. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
seen
saw
that.
that's what
I've seen.
we were talking about, how I was like, yeah, it doesn't like the IR beam, it's gonna,
Yeah.
you know, Hell,
I've seen a number of trail cam series of photos where it's like facing like a deer plot or something, and you'll see something hairy just like shoot into the view, and then the camera goes way out of complete out of area, like it approached deliberately from behind to knock it away.
Oh, they got that one trail cam video, that one running and grabbing a pig. It was so. Did you see that one?
Yeah,
the pig's there. The pig's there, and then you see this hairy thing running, and then boom, the pig's gone. I mean, it was that quick. So
damn, Gina.
Nymeria says, I was listening to Steve Isdall yesterday. He's the man that he has a man that is a nuclear scientist, and he was discussing how they can see the lights on the camera from far away distance.
Yeah,
it's the same thing
I agree with that.
If you have low light vision, if you have low light gear on, you can see those IR cameras from. It's like a spotlight.
Oh yeah,
you can see it from a long way off.
Yeah, this guy she's talking about his channel is How to Hunt.
And I've seen a lot of his videos.
He's got that scientist, man. It's all government documentation. He's been airing on the show about these things.
Yeah, that's what I was showing Angie one night. We were out with my night vision, and you can see the garage door beam, the motion sensor stuff. You can see all that. On that IR, it's like a freaking flashlight, and I was like, these animals probably see in different spectrums.
Well, it's just like on the M4s, Doc. Yep. When you paint a target, you paint a target with your M4, and you can only see with your MVGs. That's it.
Yo, what's up, Martin?
Same thing.
Martin saying hi. What's up, dude? Good to see you here, Martin.
Lenny Perkins says, my feed keeps cutting out. I swear I haven't mentioned that stupid satellite even. We did a show when we were talking about a certain satellite, and they believe it might be of alien origin. And every time we would mention it, the show would get fritzy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh wow.
It was weird.
So it's like a V'ger kind of thing from Star Trek, right?
Exactly.
Amir says Edgar is the guy's name.
Yes, that's the physicist, that nuclear scientist or something.
I need to listen to some more of his shows. I haven't listened to any in a while.
Yeah, I need to catch up too. So
I'm way behind on my podcast because I spend most of my spare time writing.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable. This guy.
Helen says, "Don't say it." I won't say the name.
Say it.
It's the bad luck name. Well, the Beast of Seven Shoots is just probably the best example of images that I've seen.
Yeah, it really is.
Gugwe. But I think, much like other types of Bigfoot, I think they're just too smart to get caught on trail cams. There's a lot of cases of bears just straight up trashing trail cams.
Yeah.
I've seen images of deer that react to the shutter on the trail cam taking images. So we know lots of species of animals are seeing this; they're just not reacting to it. But a higher intelligent animal knows that means danger, and they don't want it to show up on
exactly.
it. A buddy of mine sent me a trail cam video. He's like, "Dude, you got to watch this. I found something. I've got to get this, and I'm going to mount it." And I'm like, "Okay." This is deer footage, and he's like, "Watch till the end." So I'm watching it. And there's this deer eating at a food plot, and I can see its antlers. I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a buck. What's the big deal? And then it raises its head up and turns and looks directly at the camera and has a broadhead arrow stuck in its forehead. He goes, I'm mounting it just like that.
Well, what is it? Reindeer can see, they said what? Reindeer can see the lighting from trail cams right off the bat? That's the only one that they know of.
If reindeer can, I would say most ungulates can. That would include deer, elk, moose.
Yeah, they did a study on it, and they said that they could see the light or the motion detectors on and on garages and everything.
Ashley Hill says, why is it widely accepted that the Beast of Seven Shoots is a gugway and not something else? The photographer never seemed to be in danger, and I can see other species eating dogs. I believe the reason I think they think so much that it's a gugway is one, it's definitely already preyed on an animal, and two, it's because of the pronounced snout. And I'll bring that image up again.
I mean, if he wasn't. I think my theory is if he wasn't in any danger because that critter already had a snack.
And it wasn't close.
Yeah.
How far away was it? Okay.
He was up on a cliff. He was actually kind of on a hillside.
But if you look at this, you can see he's not close.
No. Yeah, when he took that photo, he was looking down at an angle. So, that thing stopped and looked at him kind of like, hey, what are you doing up there?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely got a pronounced snout, which is not something you normally see.
Yeah, you can see that part. Yep. And just the way it's holding the dog, too, it's kind of like it's showing him, hey, I got my food right here. You're lucky you're up there, though.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could have been a case of, hey, what's that idiot doing up there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be that, too. Maybe he was walking by like, what are you doing? What?
Come a little closer and I'll eat you.
Yeah, like, hey, what's that in your hand? Is that any good? Because I want to eat it along with you. But I don't know, maybe.
Irene says, like the show, DA, have to go. Good night, everybody. Good night, Irene. Thank you for
being
here.
Night, Irene.
Good night, Irene.
I knew somebody was going to do that.
Ronan Barron, he says, and also he was too far away. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
If he'd have been within 10, 15 feet and snapped that picture, it might have been found footage.
Right.
I mean,
we probably wouldn't have that picture if he was close by.
Right. I got a telephoto lens on my camera that can make the full moon look like it's in my backyard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So depends on what he's shooting with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Naimiri says, speaking of bears beating on a trail cam, Scott Carpenter has a video out from the other day of the black bears were trying to rip them off a tree.
Yeah.
There are lots of cases where bears have attacked trail cams, sometimes carried them off and they not find them for, hundreds of yards away from where they planted them, or they will just chew the crap out of them and leave them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
They actually did a study on that and they think they know why they're doing it. It's the petroleum in the plastic.
Yep, it tastes sweet to them.
Yes, that's what they did a study on. And they noticed that, not just with black bears. They noticed it with grizzlies, badgers, wolverines. That's why these guys are putting these cams inside wooden boxes.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get to them. Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking also, if you can take the guts out of just the camera itself out of the plastic case, and mount it inside something wooden, you might have a different reaction. But I think our best chance of catching something hidden is to use true low light cameras, not IR cameras.
Right.
If we use, because they make security cameras that you can put on your house that are not emitting any beam, but they will capture images up to 0 lumens. And I was shopping around for security cameras for the outside of our house, and I found some of them. They're not IR cameras; they are low light cameras.
Right.
I thought about buying a couple of those and setting up some wooden traps, and maybe completely camouflaging the wood, not just like spray painting it something. I don't want to use anything that leaves a chemical scent with spray paint wood.
Smart idea.
Very
smart.
Attach, even if I've got to use nails or something, attach bark and maybe like moss, and then set that somewhere where it's not going to be readily seen. Preferably, probably have to scale part of the tree to get 10, 15 feet up off the ground, then angle it down on the area you want. Because if it's at eye level, if you walk into your living room and somebody's hung a trail cam in your living room, you're like, hey,
what is that doing
wasn't
here?
there before.
Right.
Where did that come from?
Something's out of place here.
Right. I don't know that. Honey, when did we get the camera in the living room?
Yeah, creep. So,
You trying to catch on film?
Okay, Patty, the standard poodle. Site.
I think it could have been, but then again, it looks like it has a longer tail.
Yeah, it's got a very long tail that's kind of curved. So,
Tony Harris says, question: I wonder if anyone has recorded audio of a trail cam and looked at the frequencies present in the spectrogram. It might sound like an alarm or something with ultra hearing.
It's a good idea, man.
When the shutters or the digital camera goes off, you can see deer react to it. They will immediately turn and look at it. So it is making some noise we can't hear. So maybe if we're going to put it inside of a box, a wooden box, maybe coat the inside of it with like soundproofing material or a thick layer of moss so it wouldn't have a scent to it, but something to deaden that sound.
Well, not even that.
I think that's a very good point.
What's the magnetic field that it's putting out also?
True. If it's putting out anything on the EM spectrum, it might give itself away.
It's going to wear the animal. They're very, very sensitive to that stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that with hurricanes and earthquakes, they'll disappear. They'll just, boom, gone.
Yeah.
First thing that goes is animals. They'll just disappear.
Right. Like they say before, a tidal wave.
Right.
Animals are going to the high ground long before the wave's even seen. Ronan Benson, so it's probable that they can spot people hunting for them, right? Oh yeah, these things are the masters of their domain. If you're going to go out there and look for it, unless you're basically a freaking ninja, I think they're going to know you're there.
They're going to smell you. They're definitely going to smell you right into the woods.
Bill Sloan says if you're going to put it up in a tree, use mistletoe for camouflage. That's a good point.
That would work.
Mistletoe or wild onions.
Or Spanish moss, maybe some Spanish moss.
Well, yeah, but that would look weird in an area that it's not.
Well, that's true. If it's not indigenous, got to use indigenous plants.
If you're putting Spanish moss up in Missouri, everything in the woods is going to go. The hell is that?
I go. Yeah. There's my Mississippi kicking in, DA.
We got it here. We got it here too, Doc. We got Spanish moss all over the place here.
Out in Colorado, we just use marijuana to camouflage everything.
That's it. Or California, up in the northern part, you can use that too.
Well, then you're going to get a gugway coming in there going, I know there's a hippie in here somewhere.
Yeah. High as a kite too.
Do I hear Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah. Where's the Cheetos, dude?
Well, what is it? The cannabis capital out in, what is it? They call the Golden Triangle. Those deputies that were out there that were burning the fields. At that one time, they encountered very aggressive. Either it was a gugway or Sasquatch. It actually went after these guys, and these guys had high-powered rifles and stuff. They were just going at it.
Yep.
But it was a known. These deputies swore on oath by it.
I do remember that story.
Right.
Wow. A lot of stories of the guys that had those illegal marijuana grows up in the mountains of California getting attacked and killed.
Right.
Yep.
So that supposedly happened many times. Ronan Barron says, mistletoe, wouldn't they be expecting a kiss? Well, if the gugway wants a kiss, Ronan, you can give him a kiss. He might want tongue with it, though. You don't know.
Oh.
Well, maybe that's what's really going on in this picture. Oh, give us a kiss.
Man. What movie was that? I'm going to have to watch that.
It's called Primal Rage. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, Doc, it's a really good movie. If nothing else, the creature effects alone are worth watching it for.
Hells yeah, dude.
The creature effects alone are just so good. There are points where I'm actually kind of rooting for the monster at a couple points, but because the characters aren't that great, but it is a good show, and I like the sheriff, but I unfortunately, I won't say what happens to the sheriff, but I did like the guy that played the sheriff.
Oh, on that too, but no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. If you haven't had a chance to watch the movie, it's called Primal Rage, and it is one of the better Bigfoot movies I've watched in a while. How did we end up with 2 pocket ducks?
Dude, I have no idea.
Well, I'll fix that.
What did you do, Doc? What did you do?
Man, I don't know how my camera.
It was fruitful and multiplied.
I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch it. I swear.
It wasn't
me.
Wasn't me. I was looking for Primal Rage on my phone.
It's a good movie, Doc. Another good one.
You're gonna enjoy it.
Another good Bigfoot film is the one called Exists. The plot's a little predictable, but it is so good. They actually talked to Bender Nagel and a couple other people to get the creature's behaviors right, which to me gives that movie a lot more credibility. Even though the plot's your basic college students go out in the woods, do something stupid, Bigfoot hunts them down, but still, it's worth watching.
That movie. Angie and I watched that movie. Yeah, we watched the movie. That's a great movie.
I haven't got a net to watch
trilogy
it
too.
Really?
Yeah, they were supposed to make 3 parts to that, but Eduardo Sanchez just kind of gave up on the other 2.
Let's see. Bill Sloan says, if you're going to put it up in a tree, use mistletoe for camouflage. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Alan Harrison says, why mistletoe?
Why not?
Yeah. Well, also mistletoe grows naturally in the trees. It's kind of like a fungus, but also it will mask the scent of whatever it's around because it's got kind of a pungent odor. And Ashley Hill says, how large do you think the population for Gugwe?
I think the population's growing.
I agree.
I think they might have been small in number at one point in time, but now that they're being seen more and more frequently, I do think that population is increasing slowly.
Do you think they're nomadic?
I definitely think they're nomadic.
Yeah.
I think they follow large prey.
Yep,
Okay.
I think they follow the deer hordes. That's what they follow.
I think they follow deer, elk, buffalo, whatever's in that area. I think they follow those.
Just like Native Americans, that was their thing. They'd follow the food source.
Exactly.
Traditionally, their birth numbers were probably low, but it's hard to say what they are because we can't confirm full populations. It's not like they once a year you leave a sign tacked to a tree. Hey, Gugwe, fill out this census form, and they're like, okay, Gugwe, fill form.
They just leave their thumbprint.
We gauge the population by how many guys in Birkenstocks go missing.
You really hate Birkenstocks, don't you?
Yeah, he does.
I can tell.
Gugwe poop smells like patchouli. Hey, that could be a Margolin line.
There we go. This stuff smells like patchouli, and is that a Birkenstock?
Not even that. Put it on a T-shirt.
There we go.
There you go. T-shirt is born.
There we go. Damien K says, DA, I sent some snaps on Messenger. First one's in Gugwe. I think the rest are just random.
Damien saw one? Nice.
Let me find those. Oh, dude, he sent a bunch of pictures.
Really?
Oh, all right. Let's see what you got, Damien K.
Let me kind of get these downloaded. Doc, do some talking. I've got a bunch of pictures to download.
Yeah, promote your stuff, Doc. Come on.
Hey, and that's a good point, Anthony. So if you're out hunting the Gugwe or any other kind of cryptid or any other kind of critter, or just out and about driving to your homes and to your work on a day-to-day basis, everyday life happens at your speed of life. And I always say that. And if something happens, somebody gets hurt, yourself or a loved one or a complete stranger, you got the rest of your life to figure it out. So head over to our website, darkangelmedical.com. Check out our premium med kits made in-house by me and my man Cannon with a lot of love. We're a little company with a big heart. And if you use one of those kits, then we to save somebody's life, we will replace it absolutely free of charge. That's called our Kit for Life Guarantee. And nice. If you order through this website, you can use a coupon code CRYPTID25, and that'll give y'all 25% off of the product price. And if you put in order notes, you got to put in order notes, Cryptid25 or DAX Machina or Team Odin, we'll throw in one of our little Team Odin rockers for your kit. So that's one of the things we've been pretty proud of. We've replaced 136 kits to date. So there's 136 people walking around with another birthday as a result.
Very cool.
Of an idea this little redneck from Route 2 Seminary, Mississippi had. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Doc, don't you have training videos on YouTube too? Also,
absolutely, Anthony. We have some free online training videos, and if you want more in depth, check out our training page on our website, and you can find out where we're going to be near you. I've been coast to coast, literally in the last 2 weeks. I was in Washington State weekend before last. I was in West by God, Virginia this past weekend. Going to be in Florida week after next, and then in Bryan, Texas, and so forth and so on. So all over the place. So get trained, because knowledge is truly power, man. It really is. I'm a big fan of that. So there's my shameless plug for my products.
There's the code and the website right there.
Yeah. So there's
folks.
Your website.
If I'm missing some of your comments and questions, I apologize. The comments are going by so quick. I'm hardly catching half of them.
Yeah, man, we're getting, and that's awesome tonight y'all are doing this, but we might miss something. So
we got 98 people watching right now.
All right.
And a lot of comments coming in, so I'm missing a bunch of them. I apologize, folks. I am doing my best.
Yeah, Ellen's got a really good question, actually.
Where's it at?
Right
Ellen
here.
Harrington. Yep.
Are Gugwe equal predators with Sasquatch or stronger? Is it a case-by-case basis? Ryan, what do you think?
I would have to say it's probably a case-by-case, but I think if you want to put it on a danger level, Sasquatch would be right here, and Gugwe would be up this way.
I would agree with that.
I think Sasquatch will chase you, and they'll throw rocks at you. They'll hoot, they'll holler, but they're not going to really want to kill you. Whereas Gugwe, if they're chasing you down, they're going to try to kill you. It's definitely one of those things.
Yeah, they definitely got long pig on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Zune says, want to find out why their movement west was so slow? Read the Book of Man by Brian Onley. It wasn't the Indians. I'll have to check that out. Sounds like a good book.
I know what he's talking about.
John Abraham says, question, our thoughts of Legend of Boggy Creek, my first Bigfoot movie. Great movie.
I love that
I don't
movie.
think it's a Gugway. I think it's more of a skunk ape type creature.
Wood booger, skunk ape, yeah.
Right.
Well, the ones that are down that Texarkana, eastern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma are extremely aggressive.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the area that Siege of Honaby came out of.
Yep, they can be very aggressive.
Is that down near the Ouachita Mountains?
Yes, it is. Right there in the Ouachitas and the Kiamichis.
I've got a buddy in the Miami Nation, and I taught a class out in Miami, Oklahoma at the Miami tribe for their tribal police, and they were talking about that during my class. It's been several years ago, and they said that things can get pretty sporty up there if you encounter one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's the siege at Honaby was about a family that basically was laid siege to in their own house and wound up getting into a gun battle with them to try to protect their home.
Yeah, it's almost like Ape Canyon. Very similar to Ape Canyon.
Yeah.
Barry Browning says, does Ryan believe there could be a population of giants that still exist in North America?
Oh, hey, what's going on, Barry? I think that depends on your definition of giants, really. I mean, if you want to talk like Genosqua, absolutely. Now, giant like humans, I want to believe, if that's an answer for you. I definitely want to believe they're real.
Northern Redwoods, Wissaconsin says Northern Redwoods has Gugway in it. I ran into one once, never want to meet one again. I don't know that I would ever want to run into one.
Wow.
You tell us your story, man. I'd love to hear that.
And Damien, I'll get some of those pictures up here in a minute. I got way behind on my comments, so I'm trying to to click on that, but I will have those up here shortly.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear that Redwood story about the Gugwe.
That would be pretty interesting.
That would be interesting.
I'd be excited to hear all about that.
Yeah, you just like to hunt their children.
Yeah, that actually goes back to the basket ogress. If you think about the old tale of that, she used to walk around stealing kids and putting them in a basket to eat later.
Right.
And that's a very terrifying story in and of itself.
Yeah.
But, it falls right in line with a lot of the Pacific Northwest and even Alaskan tales at how these creatures would walk around with a basket on their back and abduct children that didn't behave.
Yep. It was almost like a boogeyman tale, but it's pretty frightening, though.
Like Hansel and Gretel.
Almost.
Yeah.
Only those creatures were actually out there.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
I'm not going to load all of the pictures that Damien sent.
Okay.
I'm going to load a few of them because there's just a lot of them. And the Restream will only allow me to upload so many at a time. I'd have to delete pretty much everything I've got in my inventory to upload them all. But
Damien's been busy, huh?
Yeah. You can see there's something dark in the woods back there behind. He's pointing at it.
Yeah.
That's too damn close, brother.
Yeah.
And
where was this taken?
There it is behind a tree. Damien, where were these taken at?
Man.
And this is another good one. There's something behind the tree, but this
I
one
can see the face right there.
Yeah, I saw a face right there too.
Go back,
back.
DA.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right there with the nose and hello there.
And these are some pretty creepy pictures.
Hope I was wearing my brown pants. Good Lord.
Yeah, no shit. Right?
I have a couple questions for Damien. Number one, did you know it was there at the time? And number two, how close was it? Ireland.
I guess St. Patrick forgot to run them bastards off, huh?
No shit.
Yep, he sure did.
Man. Mr. Cheeky.
Got another super chat from William Bedard. Says, Gugway natural earth creation or dropped by aliens? I think all of these types of creatures are natural.
Yeah.
I don't, and I'm not gonna, I'm never gonna be the guy that says, "Oh, I'm not gonna call BS on anybody's sighting." There are people that think that Bigfoot type creatures were brought here by aliens. There are people that think they can cloak or change dimensions and things like that. From my time in law enforcement, I tend to stick to physical evidence, what I can prove, and with the sighting reports going back on these things for hundreds of years, I'm leaning toward physical creature. If we look at the 168, where they started talking about how the hair shafts on Bigfoot fur was clear, like a polar bear's, and that the skin was a kind of a neutral gray that would pick up the colors around it. If they went completely still in foliage, you would lose sight of them.
Yep.
And that to me, that just explains the cloaking ability, that it's just a natural ability for them to go basically go dark.
Totally agree.
Wow. And then Ronan had a really good.
Ronan says, "Are Gugwe territorial like other predators, or just nomadic?" I would say they are territorial, but they move around. They're very territorial for the area they're operating in at that time.
Yep.
Whatever
wherever they're at, it's theirs.
Yeah,
this is mine. This is mine. This is mine.
Wherever they are, it's mine. It's like they're like toddlers. If I can put it in my hand, it's mine. If I can see it, it's mine. You know.
Alyssa says, "The story is simple. My mother and I were camping in her 1952 Dodge with a canvas back. It was raining hard. Mom was pushing the top up to drain the water. Around the third time she drained it." It doesn't bring up all of the comment. Let's see.
I think he's going to write a part 2 to that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was nothing after that, DA.
Okay. I thought maybe it was Restream that cut it off. Damien K says, "I'm in cryptozoology around 6 years. All pictures are from the videos." That's awesome, dude. Those are great pictures.
Yeah, good job.
Unfortunately, I don't have the room on Restream to load them all, but those are some really good pictures.
Yeah, they are.
But I picked the ones that I thought were the clearest.
That's what I like to see, is somebody getting out in the field and actually doing this kind of stuff. Does my heart good.
Absolutely. And I apologize. I'm just a hillbilly from the sticks of Missouri. So if I pronounce that wrong, I apologize. Zune says maybe their hair has properties like the octopus. Again, I think it's very much like the polar bear. It has a clear shaft, which allows it to pick up the colors that are around it. Polar bears use that as a hunting technique. And in a blizzard conditions, polar bears are almost invisible. And things will blunder right into a polar bear in the storm and not even see it until it's there.
Yep.
So I think it's just gives it the ability to pick up the colors of whatever is around it. So if its skin reflects the colors around it, and its hair picks up the colors around it, and it crouches down in a big thick foliage of ferns and keeps its head down, and it doesn't have the eyes up where you can see them, I think it's going to be practically invisible.
Yep, correct.
Here's the second comment from Alyssa.
She says, "The Gugwe came and walked all around the back of our truck, poking the sides until it got the back. It tried to untie the flap. Mom and I pulled our feet away from the gate and stayed very still." Ooh.
Holy pucker factor, Batman.
Heck yeah.
Man, that's intense.
Deadman points out another movie, Big Legend. That is a good one.
Yeah. That's a very good one.
There was one my wife and I watched the other night, and I cannot for the life of me think of the name of it. But it's about this guy. And Ryan, if you remember the name of this, jump on in there. This guy and his fiance go out into the woods camping, and he gets distracted and walks away from the tent, and she goes missing.
Yeah.
He gets institutionalized for like a year, and then goes back out looking for it, and ends up in a battle with this creature. But it's a really good movie, and I cannot for the life of me think of what it's called.
I just watched that.
I'm trying to think what one it was.
It's a really good one. At the end, Lance Henriksen shows up and says, "All you really did was piss it off."
You're right.
It's
Okay,
supposed to begin with the Monster Hunter Chronicles or something like that.
Yes, all right.
Yeah.
I think I've seen
waiting
that.
for them to make a
It's
sequel to it, because the first
it's
one
a
was
good
really
movie.
good.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
He's actually ex-army too, because remember that
he's an
too.
ex-ranger.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
I think I've seen that before.
It's a good movie.
So Ryan,
Yeah, and I just watched it the other night.
question for you, man.
Sure.
Environmental DNA. How much stock do you put into that stuff?
I think it definitely could be useful. I mean, we got to invest more time into actually analyzing it more closely. But I think if we learn how to perfect it, it could be super, super useful.
Yeah.
I think eDNA, again, I agree with Ryan. I think it's super useful, but it's got to have something solid to corroborate against. eDNA alone is not going to do it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Qualitative and quantitative are two different things for sure.
Very true.
Well, I mean, like, we could have all the science, you know, but if we don't know what we're looking at, eDNA is still going to be useless until we actually have things, you know.
Right. You got to have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
Right.
Ashley Hilt says, for the people who want a wholesome Sasquatch movie, check out A Wish for Giants.
Yep.
Huh.
I have not seen that one.
Me either.
I'm a horror writer myself, and my taste in movies tends to run to horror. So pretty much all the Bigfoot movies I watched are really pretty interesting. There was a Wendigo movie we watched the other night called Antlers, which was really good.
Wendigo.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yes, that's a good movie. We watched that.
It is
the
a
other
great
night, too.
movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
I love that movie, man. Ooh.
I've seen that.
They were singing my song.
With me. My wife goes with me when I go out and film on location. She went with me when I went to LBL, but she stayed at the resort when I was actually out into LBL. But we were watching one of these movies one night, and she just pauses it and she looks over at me and she goes, "You know, you've ruined me for camping now, right?" Alyssa says the next morning, as soon as the light broke, Mom tracked it. It had feet that looked like a Bigfoot in size, but had claws like a bear. No front paws with the tracks. Mom said it was neither a bear or
Bigfoot, probably.
That's something you hear a lot with Gugwe, is they do have the claws on the end of their toes that are kind of like bears. That, you know,
oh, yeah,
curved like that.
I wonder if the Gugwe tracks have the mid-tarsal break like Bigfoot's.
You know, from the people I've talked to that have seen the footprints, they don't.
That it's more like a human without the hinge.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Bless
of
you.
weight to support on that kind of
Thank
foot.
you.
That really is.
I hit the mute. I hit the mute just in time.
I've seen that. You know,
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah.
I do that with the dogs when they start acting up. It's the witching hour, 10 o'clock here. So
Zune says, "Da, you got it right the first time. It's just Zune, not Zune. Sorry, I guess it depends on which syllable you put the emphasis on."
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Tony Harris says Abominable was pretty good, especially the head bite scene. The head bite
That
scene
was a great
so
movie.
Cheesy. It's like,
yeah,
its jaw unhinges. That was the cheesiest scene in there, but the rest of it I liked, especially at the very end when the police are investigating and there's like eye shine appearing all around them. I'm like, oh crap, this isn't going to end well.
Well,
And then
it
it
was-
stops. I'm like, come
It's
on,
the
this is
principal
about to get
from
good.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, even the movie, what is it? Primeval, right? With the Gugwe?
Yeah.
Primal Rage.
Primal Rage.
Primal Rage. Look at the
Also-
scenes in there. It's biting the heads off these dudes. And I mean, it's like an apple to it in the movie.
Yeah.
that's
That's
what it
crazy.
says.
It's
And
seven
And
guys
Mom
with
said
knives
we
in
need
that
to
movie
leave now
too.
and not come back. And we drove away. She told me the narrative and stories of the Gugwe. Yeah, I don't know that I'd have gone back to the area either.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know,
Then
man.
again, I know me. I probably would have.
I'll go if he goes.
Yeah, my mother used to say when I was a small child that I would blunder in where angels feared to tread, and that's pretty much been the story of my life. So yeah, I'd have went back.
That's what cryptozoologists do, man.
That's right. Susan Parsons says Vault from the Vault of Nightmare YouTube channel found some hair on his property. While showing it, he shined a high beam flashlight on it, and it disappeared. You couldn't see it. That's what that clear shaft will do.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's why when
that's a great example of that.
DA was saying that's why everybody probably, you know, it cloaks and disappears.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Well,
Agreed.
you know, and I will again. I will never claim somebody is making up a story. I will never
Right.
say, "Oh, because
No.
you claim you had mind speak that it invalidates the story." I'm not going to say that. There are too many organizations that pick and choose which stories that they will profile.
Mhm.
If you've got a Bigfoot story or a Dogman story or any kind of cryptid
we wanna
story,
hear
I
it.
want to hear it.
Right.
Because we don't know. We don't know what it's capable of. But just from my personal experience, I've been in places where what I refer to as my primitive monkey brain, that brainstem reaction. I've been in places where that little voice in the back of my head says, "You need to leave this place right now."
Yep.
And it's almost like I hear the voice in my head say, "You need to go right now."
Right.
And I don't think that's mind speak. I think that's just primitive,
Yes.
good old fashioned
Yes.
ass saving fear.
That's
Yeah.
what I've been saying too.
Yeah.
That's spidey senses.
Yeah,
You know,
and-
even when you're in law enforcement or military, you get that, you know, Yep. I don't know about this. Yeah.
Trust your gut, man. Trust your gut. That's your.
Susan Parsons says it would also change colors under the light as well. I can definitely see that. Yeah. I mean, I've had times even as a cop, I'd start to go into some place and I would stop and start backing out the door. I'm like, yeah. 1405. I'm gonna need an additional unit.
Yeah. Owissa said that it stunk as well, and then she said, "Check this out, DA. You'll appreciate this."
There, it was closed off to the general public. That's much like those two campgrounds here in Missouri.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm. The information I was able to find on the Joe Bald Recreation Area was sometime around the year 2000, there were a number of disappearances and the Army Corps of Engineers shut it down. However, the one that they called Combs Ferry, I can find nothing to explain why they shut it down, and it had an active marina at it. They closed off, and when I say closed off, I mean bulldozed the entrances to this 100-acre plus campground.
Tony Harris has a good question too, a good answer to that one.
Tony says, DA, after the meet and greet and eat, I camped one more night on the north side of LBL. Seemed extra desolate for deer season. Here's the weird thing. I spent 4 days and 3 nights in LBL back in July, and I was all over the north end of LBL largely by myself. I was there a day and a half before Nick Valente got there.
Whoa!
And I went and even when Nick went back to the hotel a couple of times, I went back into LBL in the middle of the night. I'm an insomniac. Wow. Everybody knows that. I'm up at all kinds of crazy hours. So I went back in the park several times by myself and just drove around.
Very nice.
Here's the weird thing about LBL. I grew up in deer hunting and turkey hunting and fishing and camping in the Missouri woods. I have never been in a place that felt like northern LBL. Never. And I've been in a lot of places hunting all over the western United States. When I was in northern LBL, and guys, this is the really weird part. In northern LBL, I didn't see a single animal in 4 days and 3 nights. Not one. I didn't see roadkill. I didn't see birds. I didn't see foxes running around. I didn't see nothing. Not a single animal. Mm-hmm. However, just across the canal over where we were staying in Grand Rivers, there were deer walking into our campground. There were squirrels running around. I saw raccoons and possums. I was actually throwing bread to a raccoon off of the balcony of the little cabin we stayed in. And there were animals everywhere. But you cross right over into LBL and nothing. You guys watch those videos. If you watch the videos I took in LBL, and they're on this YouTube channel, if you go find my LBL video, you've watched those videos that are driving around at night. At no time do you see eye shine anywhere, and that's unusual. That is very unusual.
Dude, they sense it. They sense it. Yeah. They have that sixth sense that some people don't. Most people don't. And they sense it, so they're going to be getting further from that place. It's almost like it's cursed ground type of thing.
Yeah. The north end of LBL is weird. On the road, on the highway in, when we were going into LBL, you would see like deer that had been hit by semis on the side of the road. You'd see possums and raccoons. You'd see normal roadkill. Right. When I was driving along what they call the trace, the main road that runs through LBL, and along all the side roads running over to areas like the area they call Hotel California and into those like DeMumbers Bay and these campgrounds, there was no roadkill, nothing. I didn't see a single dead animal along the road, but just across the canal in Grand Rivers, you'd see animals dead on the road. Not an LBL. Weirdest thing.
We're going to Combs Ferry this summer.
Heck yeah.
Very nice.
Down like 4 flat tires.
Yeah, we will have thermal and night vision, so we'll find something.
That's going to be awesome.
Tony Harris says, I wish I'd known I wanted to stay another night. I've got a question here. Nicola Masera says, how long has the Gugwe been around, or how long have you known about it?
Ryan, long time. They've been around a long time. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, white settlers saw them in the 1900s, but the Micmacs, the Choctaw, they all saw them way, way back then before there were even settlers over in the States. So they've been around
kind of like
in
the LBL area. There are dogman sightings that go back to the 1600s by French trappers that referred to it as a loup-garou. There are sightings of these types of creatures since before white settlers came to North America. Yeah. Unless you count the Viking settlement in Vinland, where they say they abandoned the Vinland settlement because attacked by Skraelings. But if you realize what they're talking about, they're not talking about Native Americans. These Vikings, these big hairy warriors with swords and spears, describe the Skraelings as huge hair-covered monsters.
Yep.
That's not Native Americans, but the Native Americans can't even grow beards.
Yeah, right.
So something that the Vikings would describe as huge and covered with hair.
I wonder what that could be.
Exactly.
Leprechauns.
Hairy ones. Right.
Leprechauns.
Tony Harris says, I was off of Energy Lake Road on the north side of the Lake Barkley side. I've been in that area. It's a pretty area.
Nice.
The weirdest spot I found, just the feeling, is DeMumbers Bay. DeMumbers Bay and LBL just freaks me out. In fact, it was on the road to DeMumbers Bay where Nick and I had our sighting. I didn't get it on camera. I had my phone with the camera option up, and when I saw it, I didn't even think of the camera. I'm like, oh, there it is! I never once thought of trying to get the film in. Once it was gone, I was like, shit, I should have filmed that. Oh, we got another super chat. William Bedard again, thank you, man. Says Gugway normal biped or have hawk legs like a dog man. All the accounts of Gugway that I've heard, they've had normal legs with plantigrade feet as opposed to the jitigrade that dogmen have. And the same with you, Ryan?
Yep, same thing.
Oh, that's a conversation between others. Doyle Thorne says burying the battery seemed. Oh, not even sure.
This goes back to this work. This goes back to this comment, DA.
Oh, yeah. An acquaintance told me he was having issues with deer, cats, and bear noticing his trail cams. He took the batteries out and wired a battery pack that was buried 2 feet in the ground.
Whoa.
Burying the batteries seemed to work. However, this won't do anything about the IR. That's why I want to do low light cameras. And if I've got to bury the battery packs, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I think what you said though, the stuff that works in the zero light without an IR signature, I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
That's what I think we've got to try. I think we've got to try something that is just pure low light, because if it emits an IR signature at all, they're going to see it and avoid it.
Yeah, because I mean, like even when you and I go DA, I'll bring the night vision. And we'll just won't turn on the IR illuminator unless we absolutely need to highlight something.
Well, the little low light one I've got is an IR camera. So if I use it, it's going to be like shining a beacon around. But I might be able to get some decent footage with it. At least footage of the area.
Hey, footage is footage, man.
That's right. The Gugway though is the one, and I'm not even including the Genoskwa. The Gugway is the one I really don't want to run into on a dark section of road.
Right.
The Genoskwa are aggressive.
No.
Yeah, the Genoskwa are known to be aggressive, but the Gugway just seem to be pure aggression. There are no stories of them being helpful or friendly. It's not like, oh, you got a flat tire? Let me hold it up for you so you put the tire on. Like, oh, you got a flat tire?
I mean, I think all the species, subspecies, whatever, Bigfoot are territorial to some degree, but these cats are not only territorial, they're extremely protective of that territory and aggressive. And so, like DA said, the outcome is not going to be favorable if you come into one, meet one. I mean, do they have any of the territorial signifying signatures like the Bigfoot does, where they will pull trees up, put them inside down like territorial markers?
I have heard of people saying that some things were done by Gugwe. There's a way to tell, I guess. So, like, they were saying that there's different designs when the Gugwe do it.
Okay.
Really? So
I'd like to know more about that.
Like somebody was actually saying that what they do is they rip the bark off the trees in some places, and that's like a indicative of the Gugwe doing.
Barry Browning says, I've seen Bigfoot and shadow figures at LBL. The shadow figures were seen at the LBL site where the family was supposedly killed by the dogman. What I saw, what Nick Valente and I saw, we were driving about 5 miles an hour down this section of road, just kind of looking at both sides of the road. And I looked to my right. I had my phone in my hand wanting to film something. I looked to my right, and about 20 feet off the road, behind a large tree, I saw a dark figure that was kind of like trying to hide behind the tree. But as I looked at it, it leaned out and looked at me and turned and started booking it. And I yelled at Nick, and Nick sees it going away, and it drops into this ravine. Well, we throw the car in park and jump out, and we go heading over that way. We could see in the leaf litter where it had disturbed the leaf litter. We found the tree, and where I saw it sticking up behind the tree had to have been close to 7.5 feet. It was well above what I could reach.
Damn.
Wow.
And it went down into a ravine that was at about a 45-degree angle. So without rope equipment, my big ass wasn't going down there after it. Nick's like, yeah, that thing's gone. We're not catching it. Because by the time we got to the ravine, we could hear it like a quarter mile away still hauling ass through the underbrush. Like, yeah, we ain't catching that thing.
No.
But because of the heavy leaf litter, we couldn't find any tracks. We could just see where the leaf litter had been disturbed. But it was definitely big, and it had like a dog-like head. It was completely black, and when it took off, it could pick them up and put them down.
Good question from Ashley Hilt.
A very good question, Ashley.
Brian, go ahead.
I mean, the Beast of Seven Shoots is a pretty good, story of an attack on a dog. But as far as humans go, I don't think we have anything that shows like total evidence that they attacked by Gugwe, but there are eyewitness stories though.
In a lot of cases, I would definitely say if Gugwe attacked, they're smart enough to attack somebody when they're alone, and they're smart enough to make sure the attack gets pulled off. I think the reason why we don't have more Gugwe attack encounters is because we've got so many missing 411 cases. I think they're very efficient predators, and if they decide they're going to attack somebody, there's not a lot they're going to do about it.
Right.
Yeah. They're probably like a big cat, and they stalk their prey, parallel them, all that kind of good stuff. Wait for the optimal moment, and then it's fast and furious, and they're freaking, Gugwe poop.
Yeah, you don't even know they're coming. Yeah,
they ambush them. Ambush the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Ronan Barron says, DA, we'll have to get together sometime, and I can tell you my story of what I believe was a Bigfoot encounter when I was 9.
Oh.
Dude, I would love to hear it. Yeah, we can definitely hook up and hear swap stories. Tony Harris says, question, what about building some type of Faraday cage for webcams? No idea what that would actually entail. I don't know. I don't know if they're picking up the EM frequency, or if there's some sort of hum that we're just not capable of hearing. Faraday cage, while it might work, like maybe if you make a wooden box, line the interior of it with aluminum foil, that might do the trick. It'd be worth trying. I mean,
wouldn't they notice the box?
Experimentation.
I think they would notice the box, though. They'd be like, "What's that big wooden box doing there?"
Well, it depends on the shape you make it.
Yeah,
if you can make it kind of a rounded shape, and
like
then
a knot hole,
and then take a knife and carve bark off of a section of tree and stick it on there, it's going to look like part of the trunk.
Yeah, it look like a knot hole.
The thing is, the trick is you can't hang a box that's made with oak bark and a walnut tree. You've got to make sure the bark matches.
Yeah, or a birch. Use birch bark.
Yeah. Now, and I think Ryan, you said something about the way they do the Gugwe signatures, tearing bark off the tree. I'm assuming, like growing up hunting white-tailed deer all my life, you see the rubs on the tree when the bucks are trying to get the velvet off their antlers, and that's at antler height. I'm assuming, and I know it's a bad thing to do, but I'm assuming that these marks are probably far higher up on the trees, way higher up than a buck.
Some people say like you can see the finger impressions from where they've been clawing the tree.
Okay. Yeah, and Awissa just commented on something like that.
Folks, I just posted all of Ryan's links in the chat. They're also in the description of the show.
Oh, thank you.
So you guys will go by his YouTube channel, show him a little love, and like and subscribe to his channel and check out his content. And no problem, man. I appreciate you guys. If you guys go over and show him some love and support, help his channel get out there too. Awissa says, Gugwe trees usually have claw marks like a big cat or bear tree does, but the damage goes further up the tree and is deeper. Medicine Man on Tribe showed me such a tree in 2011. It was a cedar.
There you go.
That's pretty interesting. Asian horror fan says we're supposed to have both Sasquatch and Dogman here in Mississippi, so who knows if the Gugway is around as well. I do know from personal experience that my state has Black Panthers for sure.
So do
I think
brother.
there's Gugwe out that way.
So
I do
do I.
believe
So
Gugwe
too.
in Mississippi.
I
Yeah.
think some of the earliest known encounters were near in the Georgia mountains. In
Yep.
fact, there was that case. Although we don't know if it's a Gugway or not, there were 3 guys that went deer hunting in the Georgia mountains, and they scattered out along a ridge line at about a mile, about half mile apart. So they were scattered out over a mile. One end, the 2 farthest guys were about a mile apart, and there's a guy in the middle. Well, the guy that went the farthest down to the end of the valley, after he got down there for a little bit, the guys were sitting in a tree and they heard gunshots, multiple gunshots coming from this guy. Well, these guys are like, what the hell's going on? That's they climb out of their deer stands and they get down there. They find the guy's deer stand has been ripped out of the tree and basically twisted into a pretzel. They find the guy's rifle has been snapped over a tree and they never found a trace of the guy.
Yep. Never found his body anywhere.
It's never been found.
Yep.
Wow.
And that was in the mountains of northern Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if there's any other questions. Oh, here we go. Ashley Hilt says, do you think they're clawing up cedar trees to get to the sap in the trees? Maybe.
It could be, but I think it's territory.
I do too. I would say it's more of a territorial marking.
Just like a big cat and barrel do. Same thing.
Yep.
Asian Horror Fan says, what part of Mississippi are you in? I'm from the Hattiesburg area and my brothers live on the coast.
That was actually for me. I was just asking him where he was from in Mississippi.
Oh, okay. George Jennings says, get a passive infrared camera through alarm supply. That's what I use around my place. That would be a good one to try too.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to try
idea.
getting some of those low light cameras instead. I think anything that throws an IR spectrum is going to get avoided. And I think that's why we have so few good pictures on trail cams.
Yep. I should have been taking notes today. A lot of good ideas here, man.
Hey man, you can always watch the show again and write them down.
I'm going to have to, I think.
I have a stack of Post-it notes, dude, by my computer every show, man, for sure.
Barry Browning says,
Facebook,
Tony, it's all on Beast TV. We're doing a live event on YouTube. Dude, I've got to check that out.
Ooh.
Beast TV's awesome. Those guys are great. Woo.
We've got
We're only an hour
101
and a half
people.
in. Yeah,
Wow.
The hour and a half has gone by fast.
Yeah,
we
man, it was
stayed on
exciting.
topic,
It was
too.
fun.
Well, I'm not wrapping up. I'm just saying I'm surprised how fast an hour and a half has gone by.
And
No, we
stayed on
haven't.
topic.
I was just about to say that. We haven't got off topic yet.
Yeah, we've stayed on topic. Shockingly,
Yeah.
we've
Well,
stayed on
Barry,
topic.
Barry Browning's from Clinton, Mississippi. Right on, man. Right on.
Nice. Yeah, Barry's a great
Alyssa
guy.
says parts of the bark look like it had been ripped out by hands. Bigfoot will strip cedar bark too, but no claws. I believe it's a territory mark. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't there some Native Americans that would strip off sections of cedar bark and chew it during lean times? So it could have been taking cedar bark because there was a lot of nourishment in it, and also you can make a tea out of cedar bark that's supposed to have some sort of medicinal effect. I don't remember what it was.
It's have antibacterial properties.
Yeah.
And it's really high in vitamin C.
Yep.
Yeah, I read about it in
There you
this
go.
book.
Got that on
This
the
is
way.
a really good book.
Look at you and all your books that you have at the disposal
Oh,
already.
dude,
man.
I've
It's like
got a freaking library over here. Another good book, if you want to have one on hand, and this is almost a must if you're going to spend any time in the woods, is the SAS Survival Handbook.
Yep.
This is the newest edition, the 3rd edition, and
Nice.
it shows you medicinal plants, poisonous plants, how to make snares, how to make primitive shelters. There's a lot of really good information in there. Nicola Macera says, I lived in the Adirondacks. Have you heard of any of the Gugway in that area? The Adirondacks are where? Upstate New York?
Yeah. There are.
Yeah,
some
there's
up in
been
that
a
area.
lot
They
of accounts
are.
from up in there in
Yeah.
Maine, all the
They're
way
up
up through
there.
New England.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Boy, the Gugwe's getting popular now, thanks to us, huh?
Yeah, and well, there's a lot of other channels that are actually starting to take notice of the Gugway.
Right.
I've known about the Gugway for quite a while. In
Yeah,
fact,
me
I
too.
used it in some of my books. But it really has always kind of intrigued me because it's one of those ones that it's not ambiguous. It's never the good guy in the story.
No, it's always the bad guy. It's the villain right off the bat.
It's not like I was fishing one time and fell into the rapids and this Bigfoot grabbed me and pulled me out and saved my life. That doesn't happen with Gugwe.
No.
Yeah, if you fall in the water and you're going downstream and a Gugwe pulls you out, it's not because it's there to help.
That's like a bear. That's like a bear eating a salmon. You're done.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I rescued you.
You notice how all the Gugwe sound the same thanks to DA over here?
Well, his son's got a pretty cool sound effect. Change his voice on his podcast.
I need to get one of those.
You need to get that because that stuff is pretty cool.
Wissa says Nootka tribe used cedar bark for clothes, hats, and shoes. They're a tribe in northern Washington. Yeah, I knew there was a lot of uses for cedar bark, and also cedar trees. The way that their branches tend to form out like a natural teepee. A lot of times they would be used as shelters during bad storms.
Mm-hmm. Just like in the one of the books.
Exactly.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Robert Miller says, "What's up, Wild Bunch? Hey, what's up, Sentinel? Hey, brother, how you doing?" Asian horror fan says, "Oh wow, that's an awesome. It's great to meet someone else from my state." Oh, well, that was I'm missing part of the conversation.
He's from Moss Point. That's down.
Oh, that's right.
That's where 3 Doors Down is from. That's where my good buddy Brad Anderson is from. 3 Doors Down is from.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
George Jennings says another good book is Back to Eden, which is all your herbs and all their uses. That's awesome. I might have to find that book.
Back to Eden.
Back to Eden.
It's time for the post-it
notes. If you find it, send me the link.
Copy. Yeah, because we got our greenhouse in, so Angie's going to be out there growing everything.
Werewolf 5674 says same with pine trees. You can use every part of the pine tree.
Yep, sure can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also one of the tricks that my uncle told me was to take like green pine or green cedar branches, just like straight off the tree, and use either sage or wild sage or any of the other strong smelling herbs and throw them in your campfire before you go hunting and walk through the smoke because it disguises your scent.
Ooh.
It's a lot better than using those chemical scent-aways, the scent covers. Like, those work to an extent, but they have their own scent, which doesn't smell natural. However, using green cedar and throw, you can throw wild onion in there, just something that has a strong scent. Throw it just freshly picked right on the fire. And when that thick smoke starts coming out, just either use a cedar branch or a piece of bark or something to wave the smoke over you, and then kind of just walk through it. Keep your arms up so it kind of gets all over you.
Yep.
And that's a great way to mask your scent and to do it naturally.
Yep.
Oh, this is cedar bark can keep ground bugs off you if you use it as bedding. Yeah, that's why a lot of the old timers, the old mountain men, would line their bedding for the night with cedar bark or cedar boughs.
Yeah, that was one of the things they taught us in survival school. Was one, it'll keep you from leaching your heat to the ground, but also keeps bugs off of you.
Yeah.
Tony Harris says, I first heard of the Gugwe on Duke's World Bigfoot Radio, but I'm fairly new to the cryptid subject, just a few years, except for being a monster nut as a kid. Well, I guess that's the part isn't new. I'm right there with you, man.
Yep, that's me too, man. That's how the best people grow up right there, monster kids.
Absolutely. Kolchak the Night Stalker really got me started. I was just a little kid. Melissa Khan says, wild bay burnt on a fire keeps skeeters away. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
I'm all about keeping skeeters away. Robert Miller says, no Gugwe here, although there's a large hairy beast that's a neighbor a couple houses down that I'm suspicious of.
Hey, if Northwoods was in here, he had already written something about his ex
being large and hairy.
Yes.
Another super chat from William Bedard. He says, we must taste like crap. Why they don't eat us? There was a trick that a buddy of mine told me that he learned from one of instructors at Fort Benning when he was in Ranger School. And down there near Fort Benning, they don't have mosquitoes. They have mosquito dactyls. I mean, you can call air traffic control and ask for the registry number off the tail if you want to file charges for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're huge.
They buzz the tower, brother.
Yeah, those are big mosquitoes down there. I mean, you get down the lakes in Missouri, we get some pretty big mosquitoes, but those things are like pterodactyls. They are just freaking huge. But he said that the trick that he taught his students in Ranger School was to take your MRE packets and those packets of matches that used to come in them, break the heads off those matches and swallow them with water. And when the phosphorus gets into your bloodstream, ticks and mosquitoes will leave you alone.
Wow. That's interesting.
But then you die of cancer 10 years later, so it's all good.
Yeah.
It's probably not good for you.
Probably not good for you. But
yeah, it's not healthy for you, I'm sure.
I remember when we went out, we went to somewhere down south, and they were like, okay, use your DEET stuff, but don't get it on your plastic watch bands because that crap eats through your watch bands. And I was like, pretty sure I'm just keeping this on my uniform and not on my skin. So yeah,
no, that's exactly why I switched to those wide nylon band on my watch.
Yeah, it'll literally eat through a plastic watch.
So I had one of those Timex Iron Man watches, and it ate the band right off that thing. Ashley Hilt says humans would taste horrible. We're too lean. Well, there's a reason why the cannibal tribes refer to humans as long pork. They say we taste like pork.
Yep. Wendigo seems to like it.
True. Just there and there. 66 says Jethro Toss is the author of Back to Eden. It's on Amazon. I'm going to have to add that to my book collection.
DA,
add that to my collection.
I'm going to look that up too.
I just sent you the link, DA, on
awesome. Thanks,
on Messenger on our Signal.
Susan Parsons says South Alabama has a few of those giants. The Skeeters or the Gugwe? Borwell 5674 says, yeah, the military insect repellent will eat and destroy everything. I don't know if it's safe to put on you. You may be onto something.
Yeah.
But it does work. It does keep bugs away. I will give it that.
Garlic. Yes. 100%.
I had a buddy that used to mix that DEET in with his soft boot polish, and he would polish his boots with the DEET. So his boots basically had it embedded in. Anytime he was out in the woods, nothing ever crawled up his feet.
That's really clever, actually. That's smart.
That is pretty smart.
George Jennings says, so does garlic gel caps, 500 milligram in a bottle of water, keeps all the bugs away. Yeah, garlic definitely does that. I've got enough garlic in my diet. I'm like werewolf. Well, I'm werewolf. Vampire Bane.
Same. Angie will throw a clove into the air fryer and spread it on some bread. And that is good.
Sounds good.
It's delicious.
Werewolf 674 says, have you ever smelled human burning? It smells just like pork. Yes, unfortunately, yes, I have smelled that.
Yep. Same.
I'm not sure. I want to know how you guys know this.
Work in law enforcement.
Well, military, I mean, I understand you, but
I was
else I get a question.
Yeah, I was military and a paramedic, so yeah.
Okay, all right, you guys, I can totally understand that. Yeah. Okay, you had me worried there for a minute, guys. I was like, wait a minute.
We were doing chain of custody on evidence from bodies from an arson, and Lynn zipped the body bag, and I was like, oh God, I may not eat pork for a while.
You don't ever forget that smell.
Yeah, and it stays in your nostrils for days.
Yeah, that and blood and brains.
I almost shaved my mustache off because I couldn't get the smell out of my mustache.
Same.
It was that bad, huh?
Yeah, it was so bad. I mean, every time I would breathe in, I'd smell it, and I would like shampoo the crap out of it, and it would still be there.
Yeah.
Wissa says, question for you, DA. I just started writing a paper book about my experiences with Bigfoot and a couple other encounters. At the end of this summer, it should be completed. Would you be interested? You want me to read it and check it out, or do you want to publish it? If you're wanting to publish it, I can point you in the right direction how to get it done. But yeah, I would be more than happy to take a look at it. Monet Perkins says, when my husband goes hunting, he rubs cedar all over himself. There's a place that sells cedar oil.
Yep.
And that does a pretty good job. You supposedly you can take it under your tongue like you do CBD oil, and it gets into your bloodstream.
Yeah, I used to
I've never tried it.
I used to put all my hunting clothes in a bag, a cloth bag with cedar, and so that was my natural cover.
We would go to a sawmill and get cedar chips and put it in a bag like one of those mesh bags, and throw it under a sink or in the bathroom even in the crawl space under the house when I was a kid living on the farm. And that was, back in the 70s when we were living basically hand to mouth. And, that was one of those home remedies along with not crab apples, hedge apples. Hedge apples will keep most bugs away too. Lene says, DA, you got me started reading the Kolchak books. They're pretty awesome. Lisa Smith says, and decomp. Yeah, that's another smell you won't forget. Still Crazy Chris says, fire department humans don't smell good at all. It's bad. Yeah, it's overpowering. Roger Davis says, Firefox series is very good for general knowledge. Essential cedar oil is very good for circulation. That's good to know.
Okay. So that brings up an important part. If you're out and you're hunting these critters, I guarantee you, if you're down or upwind from them,
they're going to smell you.
They're going to smell you. So
you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
This kind of goes into it. It's just like hunting. You got to mask your scent if you can, because if they can smell you, you're in some deep poo-poo for sure.
Everything's got fragrance to it, whether you realize it or not, even if you can't smell it. The body wash you use has a fragrance. Your shampoo has a fragrance. Your laundry detergent has a fragrance.
Absolutely.
So you're going out there, and for something with a nose that's far more sensitive than our own, they're smelling all of that.
There's the dinner bell right there.
Yeah, some evening, just at daybreak, if you got a load of clothes in the dryer, go stand outside near your dryer vent and tell me what you smell.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you got the Krispy Kreme hot donut sign flashing.
Hot now.
Hot now. Whenever you're out there.
Man, you had to mention donuts, huh? Now I'm gonna get hungry. Thanks, dude.
Tony Harris says repel lemon eucalyptus insect repellent. That works pretty well.
And like for hunters, sport wash. That's another one you could use as a body wash. There's another one that's for your laundry detergent. So any of that stuff, guys, if you're out there doing this kind of stuff, you're curious to get out there, you want to present as hard a target as possible, because if you're a soft target, these creatures are opportunistic hunters, and they're gonna eat your ass if you don't take the proper precautions. And you're not safe even if you do, but make sure you give yourself every advantage possible to keep from becoming one of these missing 411 cases we talk about all the time.
Every little bit helps, man.
Absolutely.
They even have a hex suit that you can buy.
Those are expensive, though.
Yeah, but they work.
Those are very expensive.
They work.
If you're drinking alcohol, they're going to smell the alcohol. If you're smoking tobacco, they're going to smell that.
Chewing,
or chewing. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna, if you're smoking the wacky tobacco, they're gonna smell that. So it's
the thing
one of those things.
with the chew, I pointed that out in a book. Clark was getting ready to put a dip in, and Gideon was like, they're gonna smell that. He's like, damn it.
Yeah.
But what's the chances? I know a local publisher that runs their own print shop. No worries on that end. Yeah, if you want to send me a copy, I would love to read it.
That sounds cool.
Still Crazy Chris says they make shampoo and body wash for hunting.
Yeah, there you go.
You can get unscented, but even the unscented stuff are still going to have some faint chemical smell to it.
I would say, and for your mouthwash, toothpaste, anything like that, just use baking soda on a clean toothbrush. Baking soda will absorb odors, and it'll also, kind of mask some of that stuff.
Right. And whatever you do, no Skin So Soft at all.
Right.
From Avon.
Right.
I mean, I used to use it when I used to go hunting for mosquitoes, and it works great.
Yeah.
When we were out on the swamp buggy pig hunt, because we didn't have to hide. Right. We had dogs and stuff, but that stuff. Oof.
Brian Merrick says, "What was the name of the story with the hunters or the channel?" Out at the moment, I can't remember. I will see if I can track that down and maybe post it on the blog or on my Facebook page, or maybe we'll just talk about it on here again. But I cannot. I've listened to so many podcasts and read so many books on this subject. I don't always remember where I found something unless it was given to me firsthand. Then I'm like, oh, I know what that was.
Yeah, it all kind of blends together after a while.
Yeah, Lene put up a funny comment. Glad I didn't fix pork chops tonight.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Just put some mustard on it. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Some mustard and biscuits. Mm-hmm. Love me some long pig. Mm-hmm.
With some French fried potatoes and some sweet tea.
Chopped it up with a sling blade.
Yeah, right. This isn't a regular this ain't a regular podcast show, man. This is.
Some folks call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys are getting me hungry now. Come on.
Oh, well, absolutely. Speaking of barbecue, if you guys have read the second book of my Apex Predator series, Apex Predator Blood Moon, it takes place down near Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And I mentioned a barbecue place in there called the Rockin' Pig Saloon. Well, I just happen to be wearing the shirt for that. And it is a real place.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys ever find yourself in Eureka Springs, Arkansas,
cool.
Just look at your Google Maps. You can go right to it. They have Wagyu beef on the barbecue.
Really?
And it is freaking fantastic.
Shut your mouth.
They have these as an appetizer. It's Wagyu beef brisket French fries with cheese. Oh, I would walk there just for a plate of those.
Sweet.
Oh my God, they're
walk
good.
there right now.
Dude,
they've got a Wagyu burger that is like half a pound of meat. It is like,
How expensive is that, though?
It's really not bad. My wife and my mother-in-law and I all ate there for like $70.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
It's really not bad at all.
Man, you guys are making me really hungry right now, man. I'm getting mad now.
Next time I'm down there, I'm going to go film over by the Rockin' Pig.
Nice.
It's a real place. The only restaurant that I've mentioned in the books that's not real is Steve's Pub and Grub. That exists just for the wild hunt. But all the other restaurants I mentioned, like the Pizza Cellar and some of the other barbecue places, those are legit there. So if you ever go to any of the locations in the books, you can find those restaurants and actually go in and tell them you read about it in one of my books and watch the reaction, because some of them think it's a hoot.
Yep.
Still Crazy Chris says, just don't shower, keep clothes in the barnyard, roll in the barn naked, walk in bull poo, then walk over to the tree stand, kill your critter, done, no conversation. Yeah, but I'm not sure my wife's going to let me back in the house after all that.
No.
I'm going to be butt naked getting high pressure hosed in the yard. And that nobody wants to see that, especially my neighbors.
There's a real pale Sasquatch out here.
That's how you get your neighbors to pay for the privacy fence.
Yeah,
That's it.
Alyssa Khan says, the edge of my tracking area, I roll in the grass and dirt before I start tracking. Always stay upwind of my target area. If you can. I mean, some of these areas, you don't know which direction you're going to see these, especially some of the places I've been in the Mark Twain. I mean, we've heard calls in the distance from both sides. So it's very, very difficult to remain upwind unless you know exactly where they're at.
You might be in the target area, you know what I mean? And that's the thing,
you might be the target.
Yeah. Keep yourself as inconspicuous as possible. And for most of us, that's not common.
Yeah,
It's the same thing with deer hunting. I mean, if you're in a deer hunt, if you're in a deer blind, if you're out there with another person, silence is your friend. If you're out there with somebody that just wants to talk all the time, you might as well forget about hunting.
Yeah.
I got a good story about that. I had a buddy that had Tourette's, and we took him out deer hunting and put him in a stand. And
oh boy,
yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah, it was crazy.
Bless it. I mean, and something else besides silence, DA, immobility.
Right.
The power.
Movement is a dead giveaway. Every deer I've ever gotten, I saw it because of the motion. It's not like I was looking. It's not like you're like the Bionic Man. It doesn't work that way. What gives it away is the motion.
We pick up on motion just like anything else, and these cats are apex predators, man. And so they're going to pick up on all your patterns, all your movement.
It's like turkey hunting, man. Turkey, man, you move your eyebrow the wrong way, and them things spot you. I mean, it's crazy.
If those little turds could smell as good as a deer, you'd never kill one.
Right.
Fact.
That's true.
Still Crazy Chris says, or the police called on you like my stepdad. Yeah, trust me, nobody wants to see me in the backyard getting pressure washed. Not even me.
My brother Keith's watching the show, and he said, Y'all bastards done made me hungry. He's cooking pork chops.
Still Crazy Chris says, and turn your phone off.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me.
Yeah.
Just aim it in and.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Mercy.
Most of the places I go, the cell phone's effectively useless except for as a camera anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Werewolf 5674 says, yeah, when you're hunting and when you're having turkey, they see every movement. When you're driving down the road and they're standing in the middle of the roadway.
I know.
No, they don't.
You see all the turkey during deer season.
Yeah.
Seriously. Little bastard.
I had a ground blind one time deer hunting, and I had this freaking tom turkey come literally right up to the blind and start calling at me, and I'm like, I mean, I could have reached out and grabbed him and wrung his neck, but he probably would have beaten me to death.
Yeah.
He was close enough I could have reached out and slapped him, but it would have given away my position. I just wanted to go.
Yeah. I fell asleep in my tree stand and woke up, and there's like 15 turkey underneath me. Yeah.
Whoa.
Didn't see a single freaking deer, but I saw all the turkey. Then I never saw turkey during turkey season. So, yeah.
That's some good eating right there, though. Some wild turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good drinking, too.
Yeah.
Kicking chicken, man. That's what
I don't know if
chicken.
I go wild turkey, man. Come on now. Gotta have some standards.
I was being facetious, but yes.
Okay. The next thing you're going to tell me is you're drinking Southern Comfort. Come on now. It's like tastes like cough syrup.
Yeah, no. I'll pass.
I'll stick to bullet.
Yeah, bullet's good.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, we kind of digressed. We got off
food, liquor. Yeah,
alcohol.
Yeah, now I'm hungry as hell, thanks to you, gentlemen.
Sorry about that, bud.
That's
But
right.
hey, it's still early enough out there. You could probably catch something open.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to.
Those of you out there in the chat, Gugwe questions, give them to us. Give them
Yeah,
to
if
us.
anybody's got any questions, fire away.
Yeah, there's 104
Bill
people
Sloan
watching.
says we're
Come on.
alcohol.
Wow.
Bill Sloan says we're alcohol snobs. No, I've just drank in my lifetime. I've drank plenty of crappy whiskey, and I'm going to add the point in my life where if I'm going to have a drink, it's going to be something I enjoy, not something I can take the chrome off my bumper with.
I had a good whiskey. What's his name? Matt Best. That guy, Matt Best. He has
Lead Slinger?
Yeah.
Lead Slingers? I have not
pretty
tried
good.
that yet. I'd like to.
It's really good.
Still Crazy Chris says I had a tom turkey attached my bumper on my car. Did not have my shotgun, or it would have been called dinner.
Yeah.
Werewolf 5674 says put wild turkey in unsweetened tea and it tastes like sweet tea.
Ooh.
Chris Miller put a funny comment. Oh Lord, that's funny.
As long as Doc doesn't start drinking White Claw.
White Claws.
All right. Okay, Chris. Here you go, man. Just for you.
He's got it. There it is.
A little bullet. I mean, Blanton's. Sorry. That's Blanton's. Blanton's. So, no White Claw will ever pass these lips. I'd probably get kicked out of my clan in Scotland if I drink a White Claw.
Werewolf 5674 says, I meant to say Southern Comfort and unsweetened tea, and it tastes like sweet tea. Well, I can see that because SoCo is so freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Owisicon says, question, are Gugwe mostly nocturnal?
Ooh, that's a great question.
That is a good
Ryan,
one.
You want to take that one first?
You know, I would say that they're not nocturnal, though. If you look at the Beast of Seven Shoots photo, that was taken during the day. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty active during the day. So I would say it was both day and night that they're active. It's not just nocturnal.
Okay.
I would say it would probably use darkness to its advantage, but it's more than capable of hunting day or night.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like, settling down during the day. I think if there's prey to be found during the day, it's going to be looking.
Barry Browning says, question, what parts of the country are most Gugwe reports from?
Ooh. Well, it started back east, but it's going everywhere now.
Yeah, you're getting a lot more common with the Gugwe reports, but the bulk of the ones that I saw from Native Americans were centered around the Great Lakes area.
Yep.
Another good one, Ashley Hilt says, do you think Gugwe hibernate?
Ooh, what do you think, DA? That's a good one.
I don't think they do, because a lot of the Native American lore talks about them raiding their villages in the wintertime.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Because that's when game is less plentiful. That's when they would come into camps and take people.
That's
so
true.
I don't think they hibernate. I think they're active year round. I think they're more than capable of hunting year round, and it's when the game becomes more scarce in the winter time, and the lean times of winter is when you're going to hear more about human predation. But when the game's plentiful, I would say they just avoid us.
Now, and
I'd agree with that.
To play on that too, Ryan, are we seeing more disappearances from these areas that are high in a gugway concentration during hunting season, when you might have more humans out in the woods hunting game?
Yep. More and more hunters are actually seeing these things. So, and a lot of hunters aren't prepared to run into these. Because you talk to some hunters and you tell them about gugwe, and they're like, "Oh, they're not real." So when they go out there and they run into them, they are. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's a complete paradigm shift. Like, oh crap, it does exist.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the commercial where the M&M and Santa see each other.
Yep, he does exist. They do exist.
Well, when you look at this missing 411 map and look at the cave areas, you notice that the big clusters along the Appalachian Trail, where that major cave system is, you look where it goes into. Northern Alabama, northern Georgia, up through the LBL area, up through the Appalachian Trail. And that's coincidentally where a lot of gugway encounters are.
Yeah,
precisely.
And I think they use the caves as their shelter.
Right. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying for a very long time. Is they use like caves and riverways and things like that.
Even that lady that did that, sent that letter in to Cam. She's a geologist. She says how true the letter is, I don't know. They go from like what, DA 25 miles underground. She came the other side of in another state somewhere. And these things were, and this one thing was actually chasing her and tracking her.
This is my brother.
Says, does gugway taste like chicken or pork chops?
This is my
barbecue chicken. It's barbecue chicken. Wow.
I'm going to go with barbecue pork.
Yeah,
that's my brisket that was on the fire just a little too long.
That's my brother. That's my brother Keith right there. So
hey Keith, good to meet you.
Oh, so he's hungry too then. All right.
Yeah, he's eating pork chops right now. He's fixing pork chops. So yeah.
Oh, hook it up, man. Come on.
Unless you got Steve Lilly bringing it to a barbecue and you don't want to eat it. So
yeah, don't eat it. Wisconsin says, do you think we're seeing more of them because our fondness of phone photography currently in our cultures? Ryan, what do you think?
I think partially, but I think we're seeing more of them because we're becoming more aware of what they are. Before, if we saw something like a gugwe, we didn't know what to call it, so people would say, oh, it's a dogman or a Bigfoot. But now we're starting to learn the individual names for the species. So when we see a gugwe, we can actually say gugwe, and it gets reported back. I think it's a little bit of both,
What I think, and I could be totally wrong, this is just my theory. I think that in recent years, because of all of the shows like Finding Bigfoot and Expedition Sasquatch and all of those shows that you find on these shows, the subject of cryptids has become more mainstream. So I think more people are becoming more comfortable coming forward with their stories than ever before. I think that's why we're seeing an uptick in sightings. It's not because that they're seeing the creatures so much more. It's that people are starting to actually tell the stories. But I do think these creatures are becoming more common. I think their birth rates are increasing. I don't know. I can't explain why, but we're starting to see, like in those towns in southeastern Oklahoma, where they've been reporting them coming into town and raiding trash cans or raiding chicken coops and things like that. So I think there's a certain amount of them are losing their fear of people. But I also think that people are less afraid to come forward with the stories.
Yep, absolutely.
Ryan, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
And this is one that I've thought about for a while, and I want to hear what you think, because you've really dug into the gugway history and the lore a lot. Do you think that if times were lean, gugway would prey on other clans of Bigfoot?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think they would even hesitate. I think if they could pick off some members of another clan, they're going to do it. I mean, it's like, it's when bears go after bear cubs or, raid wolf dens. Why would they hesitate? It's a free meal. It's an easy meal. Why
That's
not?
exactly what I thought. I thought, especially if they could take out a large adult Sasquatch, that's a lot of meat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It could feed half their clan.
I think they would even kill each other if they really had to.
Oh yeah, I would definitely
cannibalism.
say they'd be cannibalistic, and they probably eat their dead. If one of them, gets hurt and dies for whatever reason, they're very opportunistic. If there's meat, they're going to eat it.
Yeah, maybe
they're not going to let it go to waste.
Like the sick or the old, the ones that are too weak to hunt anymore, they could be opportunistic.
Yep,
very much so. Nymeria says, think that they migrate along the underground tunnels. Yes, I do.
Yeah. I thought that for a long time. I think they've used
these tunnel systems for a long time. Let me bring that picture up again. And I will point something else out that I don't have the picture handy. This is the missing 411 disappearance clusters. They're primarily around national parks. If you notice, that map coincides to major cave systems. But you know what else this coincides with? Fault lines.
Yeah.
And I think those fault lines are allowing those caves to go much deeper than we're capable of going.
Yep.
That's interesting.
They can disappear into a cave and come up, miles and miles, maybe even hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, if they wanted to, absolutely.
All right, Ryan, here's a good question from William Bedard, too.
Ooh, oh my goodness. The best guess on gugwe population numbers. I'm going to say within a couple hundred at least. I mean...
There's got to be a stable breeding population.
Yeah, yep, so at least a couple hundred, at least.
I would say for the wide range of sightings we're seeing, I would estimate probably in the same similar range as grizzly bears in the lower 48. I would say there's got to be a few thousand,
possibly
scattered over that far of an area.
Yeah,
but that's just a guess. Again, you can't tack up a census report and have them come by and go, "Hey, Gugwe side census."
I just leave a guest book. I leave a guest book outside, and then when they pass by, they just sign it real quick.
Yeah, all Gugwe, please sign in, and they're like, "Crap." This guy Ugg Stoneskin signed inside 7 times.
I hear a puppy.
Got a puppy upset.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to mute it. Hold on.
No worries.
Someone front.
Mark Napier says, question, do you think the Gugwe variant correspond to the mandrill variant primates?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Now, what does he mean by that exactly, though? Like behavior-wise?
How mandrills and baboons differ, and differ in aggression levels. You've got the mandrill, you've got the drill, you've got baboons, you got 2 or 3 subspecies of baboon.
Yeah.
If that coincides to the same, say, lineage of the Gugwe clans, if they're they're capable of interbreeding, but they're separate clans, I could see that accounting for why some are more aggressive than others.
Yeah, that
might account for why the Beast of 7 Shoots was just looking at him, where another one might have been trying to climb the hill.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
Because mandrills and drills are far more aggressive than baboons, but baboons are capable of being nasty. But they're not as normally aggressive as mandrills and drills.
Right, yeah. Mandrills will just mess you up.
Wisconsin says she claimed they were headhunter-like also. That doesn't surprise me. That would account for some of those stories like the Nahanni Valley or the valley in the Superstition Mountains where we're finding trappers and what's the word I'm looking for? People that stake claims, miners.
Miners, yeah.
Going in to stake a claim, and then they find the body with no head.
Yep. I could see that.
Yeah. Ellen Harrington says that the piranha is on land.
Yeah, more or less. That's pretty accurate, Ellen. Yeah.
Namiri says, I would guess thousands, otherwise there would be inbreeding.
There might be inbreeding too. That might be why some of them have the bright markings here and some don't.
I wonder if if there's any crossbreeding with other clans of other types of Sasquatch. I wonder if they're capable.
And also, I'm sorry, Ryan, but with inbreeding, just like in other species, it can make them more aggressive.
Yep.
So that could be another scientific point right there. So
totally agree.
Barry Browning says, in my opinion, most cryptids use caves and or underground areas to live or hide in. I would totally agree.
Absolutely.
That's why they're so hard to find.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eddie Rodriguez says polar bears are super aggressive.
Yes, they are.
That's because they have to exist on a diet of primarily protein. And as big as the gugway is, it would require a lot of calories just to maintain its body mass. So and you're not going to get that kind of calories eating roots and berries. Yeah, if you're needing, and a creature that size would probably need, and I'm just guessing here, I'm spitballing, probably 10 to 15,000 calories a day to maintain. I mean, that guy that played the Mountain on Game of Thrones, his daily intake is like 8 to 10,000 calories, and he's just a big human. So these creatures might have to take in as much as 20,000 calories a day, and that's a lot. I can see that.
Yeah, they're probably picking up like deer and baby deer, fawns and whatnot, trying to stabilize it a little bit.
Ashley Hill says, "What do you think the family dynamic is like with the gugway?"
I think it's probably similar to a baboon or the mandrill, where the mom takes care of the infant, and the dad really has very little to do with it. So, yeah, I think it's mainly the mom taking care of the child, and maybe a small, group of females that take care of the children while the males get the hell out of there.
I wonder if it's a female-led society.
It could be.
Because in a lot of cases, it's the female that's the dangerous of the species. Look at lions. Male lions just lay around and basically just
they're useless pretty much.
Yeah, they don't do squat. It's the lionesses that hunt and do all the work. So it could very well be a case where the gugway, where it's a matriarchal society.
Well, if you want to analog them with baboons and mandrills, though, I mean, it is the female that takes care of the babies. So yeah, you could be onto something there.
I think we may, we would have to have much closer observation, which we're not likely to get, not without getting
not anytime soon. No.
Not without becoming a missing 411 case myself. But I would not be surprised to find out that it's a matriarchal society.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I think that'd be pretty cool, actually.
John Doe says polar bears are the only known bear to actively consider humans prey.
Yep.
We've got a comment from Doyle Thorne. He says the reason people think they hibernate is because they are lower sightings reported during the winter. Actually, there are far fewer people in the woods during the winter to see them. That's a good point.
Yeah,
but again, like we were saying, the Native American sightings would indicate that during the winter was when they would come into camps and steal people.
Yep.
So I don't think they hibernate. I just, like you said, I think there's less people to see them.
Right.
John Doe says, grizzlies will attack a human in desperation or in defense. Black bears will attack a human to defend their young. Polar bears consider humans another shape meat comes in. He's not wrong.
Yeah, definitely not wrong.
Absolutely.
Although grizzly bears will put humans right on the menu when it's close to hibernation season.
Yep.
Sorry about that. I had the alarm go off.
No problem at all, man. No problem at all, brother. Mark Napier says Gugway and regular Bigfoot have to consider us easy prey. Yeah, short of the 458 SOCOM that Doc was showing us earlier, short of having something like that on hand, I usually carry a 9mm when I go out in the woods and film and stuff like that. I'm not sure a 9mm would get the job done. Although I do usually have bigger in the wings. It's just what I'm carrying on me.
Yeah. That 458 SOCOM is actually saying 4570. So you're getting hit with a nice big trash can coming at you.
And if you use the solid core version of the slugs, they got a hell of a lot of impact to them.
Right.
Naimiri says I had Doc's prepared. Naimiri says I think about do what?
It said 350 grains of love.
God, what is that?
That's a lot of reach out and touch someone.
Is that core bond?
No, it's SBR ammo. SBR. Okay. Out of Georgia.
Says I think about being snatched while out riding my horses on the trail a lot. We pass through a lot of bigger rocks. I feel like they're going to pop up from under a rock and yank me off the horse.
That's a healthy fear.
Funny you should mention that. About 120 miles from here, crossing in Arkansas, on the other side of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, is a state park called War Eagle. You can Google it. It's down there. There was a story I got passed the other day about two people that were riding horseback in War Eagle. They described a white or dark gray colored Bigfoot-like creature with a pronounced snout that chased them on their horses, and the horses almost threw them because they were scared.
Whoa!
Wee.
It was not a bit afraid of them. And they were riding in a national park, so they have, and a state park, so they weren't armed. But they were on horseback, and there was 2 of them, and it came out of the woods and came after them. And they mentioned that it had a snout. I'd forgotten about that till she mentioned horses. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I remember that story I got the other day. But that's in War Eagle. That's in War Eagle State Park in Arkansas. I'm planning a trip down there in the very near future to do some filming. Doc, when you're down here, that's just a hop and a skip from here. I mean, it's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive at the most.
Let's do it. Just no horses, because my sphincter would have smelled like saddle leather off of that one. That's
yeah. Well, that is right there it's just on the other side of Eureka Springs, so we could make a trip of the Rockin' Pig as well. So
there you go.
That's
damn good barbecue.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that. That'll be a good time. And I'm gonna have a dash cam set up too on my truck by then.
Nice.
That's a good idea.
So we can catch some front footage and be panning side to side with a thermal.
Ooh. Nice.
Well, 5600 horses. Yeah, inbreeding makes you more aggressive. Just past the Arkansas. But if you get a divorce in Arkansas, you're still legally cousins.
Exactly.
That's messed up.
Mike Hitchcock says, "What makes Gugwe different from other Bigfoot-like cryptids?" Ryan?
Well, I would say the disposition. That's definitely what makes them.
Disposition for one, and definitely that
physical
kind
appearance.
of face.
Yeah, that's a face not even a mother could love, dude. Look at that thing. Oh.
While they may appear similar in height and even dimensions to some types of Bigfoot, it's that pronounced snout, like a mandrill or a baboon, that differentiates the Gugwe from other types of Bigfoot. That, and they have clawed hands and clawed feet.
Yep.
Which you don't see on Bigfoot.
And we can just take a moment to appreciate how accurate that costume actually was. They really put so much effort into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so amazing.
Pinpoint.
This image right here is still, and bear in mind, this shot in the movie, he's actually holding the guy up off the ground. The thing had to have been every bit of 9 feet tall.
God, how tall was the guy that played that thing? Jesus.
He looked like he was probably, if I had to guess, I'd say 6'1", 6'2".
Wow, man.
But the guy in the suit, I don't know. I think he's on stilts.
Wait, is it the same guy that played the Berserker Predator from Predators?
I don't know. You know, I'd have to look up who played the creature in that.
I think it might be.
I mean, that's just a movie still, and that freaking gives me the chills.
Well, there it is, dragging one dead guy and the woman in the movie thrown over his shoulder, carrying her off.
Yeah, I love how he wore the bark as armor.
Oh yeah, and the bark
camouflage too. He used it as it was crazy.
That was pretty rad.
That was really cool.
That thing was standing right by the tree, and you couldn't even see it even in the movie with the bark on it.
Yeah, it was right behind the girl too. It actually snipped there.
Yep. When 458 goes right through bark. Just saying.
John Doe says I could calculate the calorie requirement for a Gugwe large Bigfoot. Actually, dude, if you can give us a rough calorie count, I would love to know.
That'd be awesome.
If we've got a good idea of how many calories they have to take in, that also allows us to focus in on areas to look for them, because we can through Department of Natural Resources, we can track herd movements, so you know they've got to be following the herds.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm 178 pounds, and my daily caloric requirements are right at 2,200 calories for my size, and if I'm training really hard, working out really hard, they bump up to like 3,500 calories. So you think
in the winter you've got to add 500 to 1,000 calories just to stay warm.
And you think with all the activity, how many miles do these critters cover? You know, the caloric intake is going to be massive,
way up there.
Massive.
Yeah.
Well, it also comes on when you talk about they find farm animals that have been attacked. Generally, the first thing that's eaten are the internal organs.
Right.
The liver, the spleen, the heart. Those are all high in
protein. High in protein.
Nutrient rich.
Mark Napier says, I won't go near the woods without my 45 ACP and my KS7 with double aught and slug since I read Lakeview Man.
You're a smart man, Mark. You're a smart man. And go in there with a dart kit too. Just saying.
Hooter Transport says, hey Doc, I went with the spear kit instead of the header for the truck.
Solid choice, my man. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Very cool.
Nymeria says Canebrake Horse Camp is nice. I haven't ridden horses in years. I would
yeah,
love to
me
get back
neither.
in the saddle.
Me and
I
you
used to
both.
ride all the time. Owisakan says, when rocks are thrown at you, tell the Bigfoot aloud in the area that you're only passing through. The rock throwing usually stops. That always strikes me as kind of odd because how do they understand English?
Well, here's the thing too: if they're throwing rocks at you, they're doing it for a reason. You know,
well, it might be just to intimidate you, but
right, or you could be encroaching on their territory. So if you tell them why you're there, they're not going to really care. They're still going to think, get the hell out of here. We don't want you here.
Yeah, it could be just to tell you to get out of the area, or they could just have terrible aim.
Yeah,
like Fred was saying, when his encounter, when he was heading for the boat, when they were these creatures were coming closer and closer, he said he was crouched down and he took a step back before he stood up. And when he stood up, a rock whizzed like right past his head. Whoa. He said if he hadn't have taken that step back, it would have taken his head off.
Chris Noel that has his show, them things throw rocks at him, pinpoint accurate, and it's ridiculous.
Tony Harris says, "I'm so watching this movie." Yeah,
Primal you're gonna enjoy it, Tony.
Great movie. I might have to watch that again tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do too.
Nymeria says, we had rocks thrown at us in Uwari. There were 5 of us on a trail on horseback. A large branch was thrown at us. I never saw what threw it, but my husband did later on.
Whoa.
I think rock throwing and branch throwing might initially be a warning, but if it's getting close, they're trying to knock you off that horse.
Yep. They're trying to get to you.
There's an old Viking saying, a man off his horse is half a man and twice as killable.
Yep. You want to target the master, hit the horse.
Yep. Wisconsin says, I have a digestive tract, so my calorie intake is 4,000 a day to maintain weight. And you're not Bigfoot sized, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess.
Yeah.
Doc, Mark Napier says, I'm working on getting a spear kit, Carrie.
Right on, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you much.
John Doe says, note that this would be extremely rough for obvious reasons, but it wouldn't be that difficult. Yeah, dude, I would love to hear what if you could, give us an explanation for and show us just, even if it's just a rough guess of what a caloric intake would be for a creature that big. And that really would be good for researchers to know that, because then you can concentrate to look for these things in areas where there's enough food to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go in areas where there's no game because they're not going to be there.
I mean, let's look at this. If you said a 200-pound man has a 2,000 calorie, we're basing it on a 2,000 calorie ADA diet. Okay. If a 200-pound man has a 2,000 calorie a day requirement, let's say that times 5. So you're talking 1,000-pound creature. So that's what, 10,000 calories?
Probably, and probably even more. Because when you start factoring in increased size, body weight and mass goes up by factors, not just correspondingly.
Absolutely, muscle mass requires exponentially more.
Bama Bigfoot has a good point. He said you'd have to know metabolism to know that, wouldn't you? I would say that would be a factor, but we can still get a rough guess without knowing what their metabolism.
I'll figure it out. Like a grizzly bear, what is a full-grown mature grizzly bear? Usually take in before hibernation with their weight size. Exactly. Yeah. And they got grizzly bears anywhere from 12 to 1,500 pounds.
Yeah, those are big bears.
Right.
Gail Eastwood asks, when is Lakeview Man 2 coming to Audible? I wish I had an answer for that. I lost my narrator I had lined up for it. I'm in the process of looking for a new narrator. If somebody gets their equipment ready. But we're in the process of getting a new narrator. A certain diminutive Mississippian is supposed to be doing Lakeview Man and possibly Nightmare Hunter as well.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm going to be out of pocket the next few days because this is like my first weekend off in 6 weeks. So I'm going to be Angie and I are head up in the mountains, but I'm going to be looking at that. I've been factoring in some stuff, so that is I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Tony Harris says, from what I hear from others, and I'm a noob, then the rock throwing is often just to see what your reaction is going to be. I think a certain amount of it is the gauge reaction. Yeah. But I think if your reaction isn't what they want, let's just say the throwing gets a lot more accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Got another super chat from William Bedard. Dude, thank you, man. You've been racking them up tonight. He says, chest-mounted 357 Ruger SP-101 is my hiking go-to. Yeah, I if I'm going out in the deep woods, I've got a G17 and a G26 combo because they'll take the same mags. But I keep those on me, or at least my wife's got the 26, and then I've got my Kel-Tec KSG loaded with law enforcement grade slugs as a backup.
I usually bring with me a 10 mil. I got a 10 mil carry.
Under one ammo, 200 grain XTP, leaving a 7-inch KKM barrel at about 1325. So it's like a 40. It's like a 41 Magnum. So
nice. Yeah. Melissa says they listen to us to learn our language, and they also speak several native languages. I've heard that. I've heard of the Cherokee saying that some of the ones they encountered spoke halting Cherokee, plus their own, which I know a few words of. All have been noted and researched, and the language is very ancient. Well, if you listen to the Sierra sounds that Ron Moorhead, we had Ron on the show here a while back. I would need to get him back on. But the Sierra sounds, not only was the vocal range above and below what humans are capable of, it sounded like very old, like Proto-Mongolian or something like that. They referred to it as a samurai chatter, but it definitely had an Asian inflection to it. Right. But it wasn't any words that we recognized. And the supercomputer they had analyze it with the Navy cryptolinguist program. The Navy said this is definitely a language. We don't know what the hell they're saying, and whatever is saying it is above and below human vocal range, so there's no way this is a human.
Okay, well, let's look at migratory patterns, man. Didn't the Native Americans originally come over from
the land bridge?
The land bridge.
Following the game.
Wouldn't it reason to say that they follow the same land bridge down? So there's that ancient, Mongol.
Look how many different names for Bigfoot similar creatures they have throughout Asia. The Alma, the Almasty, the
absolutely.
The abominable snowman. There's dozens and dozens of names that are across Asia that these creatures have been seen, and some of them, like the ones in northern Siberia, are also known to be very aggressive.
Right. Oh, yeah.
John Doe says you can get within the general ballpark, assuming they don't really have really exotic anatomy based on known animals. So hopefully we can at least get a rough idea. Mark Napier says the caloric intake of a polar bear would be about the same area. Maybe. I'd say these things probably have a greater body mass than most polar bears. Although polar bears are huge, these things are just so thick with muscle. John Abraham says, I was in the Smoky Mountains walking a trail and something kept following us. It would walk and we walked and threw stuff at us. Well, I don't know too many bears that have thumbs. It takes thumbs to throw something.
Yeah, that's a common behavior.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people reported that happening.
They sure have.
Thing to do is if you hear that, either stop suddenly or shift your gait. Like suddenly change the pattern of your steps and listen to them try to mimic it. And that's pretty much when it'll give itself away. Wissa says, Jinjin was 9.5 feet tall and weighed 980 pounds. Convinced her to climb the chain of our overhead pulley scale, which maxed out at 2,000 pounds. I tricked her into playing a game of climb with me one day. Well, that's pretty interesting. Doyle Thorne says, I had a 458 SOCOM for a while. I developed a new appreciation for it after reading Wild Hunt.
Yes, sir.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you like the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, DA, we're going to come correct, man. I got a Beretta 1301 Tactical. It's going to be loaded out with 1-ounce slugs. So,
jeez,
along with everything else.
Well, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to take a moment to shamelessly plug my own books.
Oh, please go ahead.
It is a shameless plug.
How dare you?
Yeah, your own show. Come on now.
Right. Let me find it.
So self-centered.
That's right. Here we go, folks.
From the mind of author D.A. Roberts. Cryptids. Lakeview Man. Apex Predator. Codename Wild Hunt. Zombies. The Ragnarok Rising Saga. Science fiction and fantasy. Lost Legion. Find them all at daroberts.net or amazon.com.
And that's our own Naomi Finn who did the narration on that. We're going to have to update that because I've got a few more books out now.
Little bit.
A little bit behind, not a whole lot.
Dude, you're like throwing books out like dollar bills, man. Good Lord.
I'm trying.
Right.
And they're awesome.
Well over 25,000 words in the new Apex Predator. So
brother.
Nice.
Try to crank that one out.
Yeah.
On the heels of the Apex Predator will be the next installment of the Codename Wild Hunt series. It's going to be called Codename Wild Hunt: Death in Dyatlov Pass.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm pretty excited to start that one. It's gonna start off with a hell of a bang. And
much excited.
If you've read the most recent Lakeview Man 3, there was something that Jay Matoska mentioned said that there was a shift and he couldn't explain it. And then he met Wiley Grant way too early. He said he couldn't explain what the shift happens in this next Wild Hunt book. What causes it happens in the next Wild Hunt.
And if y'all don't know who Wiley Grant is, you need to get correct and start reading the Ragnarok Rising series. And that's where it's at. That's where you meet Wiley Grant and learn about him.
So I gotta buy all your books now, man. Jeez.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you need to. And I'm telling you, they're kick ass.
Yeah, they sound it, man. I definitely got to get all those.
It draws you
out.
in. The story's just drain in, man.
And Ryan, and I'm not saying this to get up DA slacks or anything, man. This is God's honest truth. He and I have had this conversation offline. When he started out writing these books, that's when he and I met, was right during the first Ragnarok Rising series. And the character progression and his work as an author, a true crypto horror author, I mean, as an author in general, has definitely grown. His capability, his character development, his storylines, everything is just, I don't know, man. And he just, and the books are just, trust me, bro, you're gonna have to ration them. You're gonna have to ration your reading because they're page turners, man. You're gonna be banging through them left and right.
They're addictive. They're very addictive.
He's got 25, so it ought to keep him pretty busy.
Yeah, They're very addictive, man. Once you get hooked on it.
Yeah, I've got every single one of them, man. I've got every single one of them, and the next one gets better than the last.
Right.
Nice. And that's mean, and this is I mean, I love authors. I'm a voracious reader, and I Vince Flynn and Brad Thor and Mark Greaney and Jack Carr, all those cats. But I mean, DA, he's right up there with them, man.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
Oh, you're welcome, brother. And again, I don't say that. I'm not giving meaningless platitudes. It's something that's that I take seriously, and the technical accuracies is something I really read into because I'm a technophile. And
that's awesome.
He's
Doc,
spot
you're
on.
Exactly right. Yeah, I was about to say that, man. He's to the T.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, man.
That's great.
You're welcome, man.
And I'm not saying it either. Like Doc said, I'm not blowing smoke up everybody's ass just to get on his good side. But he'll even tell you, I'm not a big book reader. I don't read a lot.
Right.
And when I got hooked onto his, it wasn't just reading; it was the audibles, and it was just everything. But yeah,
nice. I'm excited to read them now.
Man.
Very excited to read them.
And then I got to meet Doc, and I got to meet DA, and everybody
Doc's
else.
The real hero of the series.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
When I do a medical scene, if somebody gets shot or gets attacked by a cryptid, I'll get on the phone. I'm like, all right, this is what I did. Tell me I didn't kill him. And so I'll send the manuscript to him, and I'm like, yeah, he's gonna die. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta rewrite the scene.
And Doc
survived.
And Doc's in some of the books. His medical kits are in the books. And so is Doc. And Doc, you'll see. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Roger G. Davis says, in clinic work, we used 1,000 calories per 100 pounds to estimate caloric needs. So if this thing weighs
So that's
say 800 pounds.
So that works right into the 2,000 calories per 200-pound average dude.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot.
But again, if you're talking more muscle mass, these things have probably a lot less body fat and a lot more muscle. That's going to take even more calories on top of that. So it could be 15,000 to 20,000 calories a day, man.
Just I had an appetite. Shit.
Yeah, even the amino acids, right, Doc? Right, do you have more muscle mass or no?
Yeah. You gotta have more fuel because your muscles are your fat furnace. That's what it gives you. You keep cooking.
Got another super chat from William Bedard says, I have an IWI Tavor 12 gauge. It's not the best for concealed carry. I really like my KSG. When my last department, I showed it to my chief. He's like, I don't know. I think I want you to carry the 870. And I said, let's go shoot it. There's a range out the edge of town we used. And he's like, okay. So we loaded it up with some bird shot, and he went out there and he ran a full rotation through it, which is 15 rounds in the 12 gauge. He ran a rotation through it, and he comes back up and he's loading it again. He goes, how much did you say these were?
Yeah.
And he's like, after the second time through, he's like, all right, you can carry it. But if you kick a door, you're going first. I'm like, that's where I want to be anyway.
Yeah. Because you could put non-lethal and lethal in different tubes.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen.
I can't ration them. I go through a book in about 6 hours and my wife will leave me alone.
Well, gentlemen, I have to get on off of here. I got a dog that's bugging me to go outside.
No worries,
man. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Again, folks.
Thank you, guys. This was awesome. I totally enjoyed this, dude. This was amazing. Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you, Ryan. Pleasure meeting you.
Ryan, man. Ryan, and awesome meeting you, man.
In the chat.
You too, man. You guys are legendary.
Monster Radio is his YouTube channel. Go over there and show him some love. Give him some likes and subscribes. And check out his content. Ryan, brother, thank you for being on. This was an awesome chat about Gugwe. And dude, if anytime you want to come back, you just let me know. I mean,
all right,
we're down to talk cryptids anytime you want to come on the show, brother.
Awesome. You guys have an amazing night. Everybody in chat, take care, and I'll see you guys soon.
All right, be safe, man.
Have a good night.
Good night, Ryan.
Bye. Good night.
Damn. This has been a hell of a show.
Heck yeah. Lene says, I remember that part in Lakeview 3. I'm excited to see what happens.
We had 115 people viewing at one time. Nice. Now it's down to 96, but it was up there.
That's still quite a lot of folks.
Yeah.
DA, have you seen the new Kel-Tec-ish shotgun that Smith & Wesson has come out with?
Yeah, the bullpup.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice. I was looking at those. I was like, that's kind of nice because if it's got threadable chokes, I got to look into that because I got a Salvo 12 coming in from Silencer Co.
There's a company, and I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to find them, but they sell a bullpup conversion kit for a Remington 870.
I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Speaking of bullpups, Doc and I were just talking bullpups the other day. Those might be making an appearance sometime soon.
Nice.
Won't say what.
I'm waiting on the email back.
Okay.
Waiting on email back.
Werewolf 5674 says Doc snowmobiles even in the book.
Damn snowmobile. Or the remnants of the snowmobile, Werewolf. The remnants.
Wisconsin says Genshin ate all day, but always small things like birds, mice, voles, etc. She also picked grains, roots, and vegetation, plus berries when in season. I would say most Bigfoots are gonna be omnivorous. Just eating, probably like grazing, like eating something almost constantly.
Yeah.
Tony Harris says muscle is living tissue, so it requires calories to simply exist. More muscle, higher metabolism, and more calories required.
It's science. There you go. Just like blood belongs in the body. The more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to take.
Coral Ian says, thank you, gentlemen. Love the show. Thank you so much. We're not quite done, but we're getting close to the wrap up. Mentioning Doc's incident, we have this available for those of you who are interested in the T-shirts over at the
you can get
the merch store.
You can get it on mugs and T-shirts and stickers.
Heck yeah.
I got a sticker right up here on my cabinet. So yeah.
And you can find that. Let me find it right here at my merch store, which is at merchshop.daroberts.net. And we also just put some Region 2 NADP merchandise up as well for those of you that are part of the NADP.
Yeah, we got to do a patch trade, DA.
Definitely. And then there's these as well. If you guys like the angry sex with the snowmobile shirt, we have Apex Predator shirts. They come in multiple colors. We've got the Embrace the Topic, having a howling good time on Blunk Road, and the Ragnarok Rising shirts. And there are others as well. There are Wild Hunt shirts, and we're working on there's also Nightmare Hunter shirts, hoodies, things, and mugs and coffee cups and things like that. So hope you guys will check all that out.
Yeah, and Ryan was asking about the order of books. Go to the DA verse, and it'll tell you the order.
Yeah, if you go to daroberts.net, one of the tabs at top says timeline, and it'll tell you the order to read them in. And we keep that updated as new books come out. Meg says backpack rocks. She got one of the backpacks. We do have some backpacks available, and hopefully have hats soon. The only problem, the reason we've had the delay on the hats is because they're embroidered and not just screened on. So the requirement for the image to upload is much higher, and we've just been playing a game of tag with them, trying to get the image right.
And fingers crossed, DA, I may have some Wild Hunt patches with rockers.
I was just going to ask you that.
I'm getting the proofs. They're working on the proofs right now. Man. So
I was just asking you that. I'm going to ask you.
Now, and I was going to ask you, DA, do you want the rocker as part of the patch, or you want it separate of the patch?
I don't know, whichever. It doesn't.
Okay. I'll ask him to do a cost comparison on those.
Okay. But it'd probably be cheaper to do it as one patch.
Okay.
Instead of having the rocker done separately. So it'd probably be easier to have it done as one patch.
Can do that.
Hang on. Oh, we got another super chat. Dude, you are burning it up tonight. And folks, if you guys want to do super chats, down at the bottom of the screen, the chat in YouTube, you'll see that little $sign, and you can post super chats there. Or if you want to join the channel, you can hit the join button down next to the subscribe button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Share the video with people that you know that enjoy this kind of content. It helps the channel grow, and we appreciate the support. And if you would like to become part of how the DA verse is being shaped, go to patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor, and you can join at different tier levels and help shape the future of the DA verse in the books. Super chat from William Dard says, how many calories in an average deer? Be safe, guys. Calories in an average deer. I don't know how many, because there's a lot of good cuts, but most of us don't eat the entrails, and these creatures do. I don't know that I would eat deer liver or deer heart, but apparently Bigfoot type creatures do. So I would say there's one deer would probably feed it for at least a day, maybe more. Okay, there we go. John Doe says, based upon average female gorilla's calorie need, Gorilla Nutrition in Magazine of Gorillas in Captivity Husbandry Manual, in Jinjin's weight, a female Bigfoot would require about 17,248 calories per day.
Shit.
Holy crap! No wonder the populations are small. They would eat literally every living thing.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
That is a lot of calories.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, Lordy.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, they reintroduced elk into Missouri 10 or 15 years ago, and the populations really exploded. And the area where they released them down near Eminence, Missouri, which was actually the area I set Apex Predator, the third one in the series, was Hunter's Moon. Apex Predator Hunter's Moon is set down in the Eminence, Missouri area, and there are a large number of Bigfoot creature sightings in that area. A few dogmen as well, but the Bigfoot sightings were there was a farmer down there, a rancher. He was raised cattle, who was having a lot of like calves and stuff go missing. So he went out to try to track down what was doing it. And supposedly way back in the woods on his property, he found like a depression, not really a valley, kind of like a ravine,
right?
That led up to a cave. That was. Oh.
Here it goes. Salud.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. And when he found this little depression leading up to this cave, he said it was a killing field. That entire area was littered with bones of deer, cattle, and other bones that he couldn't identify, small animals, and he wasn't sure if there could even possibly be human bones in there. He didn't see any skulls, but when he reported to the Missouri DNR, they basically told him it's a bear, stay the hell out of there, and it was his land.
Huh. Ivy Ray says, I heard a Bigfoot needs 2 or 3 deer a day.
Whew. Well, Missouri deer populations are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meg Mills says elk meat is so good. Yes, it is. I love elk. Susan Parsons says bedtime calls. Got to go. Bedtime calls. Well, good night, Susan. Thank you for being here.
Night, Susan.
Night, Susan.
Blue Cruz says that's almost 4 times what The Rock eats in calories every day. Yeah, he's a big dude, but he's just a dude. Yeah, if you're 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, and weighed in the ballpark of 1,000 pounds, I'm going to guess your caloric intake is going to be enormous. Mm-hmm. And based on the estimate that John gave us, that's a lot of calories a day. Marvel 5674 says, with chronic wasting around, I'm very careful about what I eat. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I've been really cautious about, anybody that buddies that say, hey, I've got some extra deer meat if you want it. Normally I'm down like Donkey Kong, but really because of chronic wasting disease, I've been a little leery of eating any venison here lately until the Missouri Department of Conservation says that we've had a couple of good clear seasons without any reported cases. I'm probably going to avoid it.
Yeah. Get that prion testing done, man. I've seen people die from that. And it is a horrible, horrible way to go.
Yeah, I do not want to do, and it's not something you can cook out of the meat either.
No. It's in there.
Yeah, I would definitely not be going after any venison until, like I said, the Missouri hunting season's had a couple of good years where there was no signs of chronic wasting, because chronic wasting is a nasty way to go.
Yeah, and the only accurate way for them to test it is through brain tissue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if anything, you could always get it tested, but by then, how long's your deer been hanging? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. John Dosa's gorilla diet does include meat, but not very much of it. That we know of. Mm-hmm. Based on observations in the wild, we do know that they will eat critters, but we also know chimps will eat other chimps. Chimps are nasty. So the chimps in captivity have been known to flip out on their owners and eat their face off and bite their fingers off.
Yeah. And how? Go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry, man.
The bellyache.
Bellyache, yeah.
Bellyache is extremely aggressive.
And how strong? How strong is a chimp?
Oh,
yeah. They say the chimp is on average 10 times stronger than a human.
And they run average weight, what, like 120, 150 pounds?
About half their size.
Just about.
So let's look at something 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, man. I mean, that's going to be a superhuman strength.
Oh yeah, man.
That we can't even begin to comprehend.
Mark Napier's got a good point. He says chronic wasting disease may be why we're hearing more Bigfoot and Gugwe reports. Maybe they're staying away from deer, certain deer populations.
Yeah.
Does chronic wasting affect elk?
I believe they did have some. I could look up now.
Yeah, I never heard of it yet.
I wonder if it affects elk and moose.
You figure it would. I mean,
I believe they did have some elk population. Yeah, chronic wasting disease in deer and elk in North America. So that was a review cited in 351 studies. Yeah, so that was part of it. But yeah, they did say that as of 2017, they did have a blood test at National Institute of Health. They did have a blood test that can accurately check for chronic wasting, or Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease is what it's really known as.
John Doe says meat is far more energy dense than plant material. Very true.
Fact.
Meg says that's probably why I've not been able to buy venison. Yeah, most places are really, really cautious about selling venison right now. Because chronic wasting is showing up in multiple states.
Yeah, we had it here in Florida.
Yeah.
That's funny. Bill Sloan says those weren't chimps, they were baby Gugwe.
Could have been.
Meg says I can't get elk either. And that is why thank you for this all info. No problem. Yeah, chronic wasting has been hitting the deer population in Missouri. Just it seems almost at random. Like it'll be in the north part of the state, then it'll be down here in the southern part of the state. Then they'll find it up near near Jefferson City in the central part of the state. It's just weird how it pops up. So since it's pretty much everywhere, and it's been reported in surrounding states as well, I've been really cautious about eating any venison.
Same.
Doyle Thorne says, good night all. Enjoyed it. Wish I could stay. Hey, Bub, thank you for being here. We sure appreciate it. Eddie Rodriguez says, that case of the chimp ripping off the owner's limbs had to do with her giving it antidepressants. Who the hell would do that?
Yeah.
That's just stupid. Don't give an animal human meds. You're not going to know what it's going to react to.
Why don't you just give it methamphetamines while you're at it, too,
Yeah. Chimp wired on meth.
Yeah.
Oh. The chimp on bath salts. I've dealt with humans on bath salts and saw how freakishly strong they were.
Yeah, that guy over here in Miami.
Yeah,
they ate that guy's face off. Yeah, right on the overpass.
John Doe says a polar bear needs about 5,000 less calories per day than our theoretical Bigfoot and can sustain itself on merely 2 kilograms of flesh daily. And it can get that in just a couple of fish.
Yeah, that's just over a pound of meat.
With the fat intake on it.
Lene Perkins says, my live stream feed is horrible. I'm going to have to sign off. Such a great live stream show. Good night, all. God bless, and y'all stay safe. Lene, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lene.
Sorry you're having some connection issues. Hopefully you'll be with us on Saturday night and your connection will be better. I want to thank you again for being here. Hope you have a great night, and you stay safe as well. William Bedard says, great point, Doc, about strength, how they can pull up a tree and replant it roots up. Yeah. That's got to be a tremendous amount of strength to snap these trees off that are, basketball size around, rip it out of the ground, then shove it back in the ground with the root wad sticking up in the air as a territorial marker. Yeah. Some of those that they showed were so deep out in the woods, there's no way they could have gotten heavy equipment out there.
Yeah,
faking that's practically impossible. On Prince Edward Island or Prince Albert? No, Prince Albert Island.
Prince of Wales
Island, off of Alaska. Yeah, they're finding those getting closer and closer to the human settlement on the island.
I mean,
they're thinking the Bigfoot may be trying to take the island back.
I mean, they're buried deep in the ground too, man, and that's terrifying to think about that.
Alyssa says, I think the Bigfoot have a slow metabolism compared to us. Jin seemed to eat less than I expected her to. Other Bigfoot I have tracked seem to eat only about twice what we do. It always has confused me. John Doe says, humans have higher energy needs for their size than most apes. That's true. We do live a more active lifestyle because a lot of apes will spend a good chunk of the day just laying around, like munching on vegetation. Looks like Lene's going to bed. Good night, Lene.
Night, Lene.
Night, Lene.
Werewolf 5674 says, chronic wasting affect all species of deer and elk is from the same family. Essentially it's the same as a mad cow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nasty.
We had that here in Florida, mad cow, like 2 years ago. It was bad here.
Yeah.
Mark Neighbor says, I sent you a link to a video of Prince of Wales Island, dude. Thank you. Yeah, the Prince of Wales Island, there's a lot of weird crap going out there. And that was the documentary I was watching, the guy that was doing the documentary said he honestly thinks the Bigfoot are trying to retake the island.
Yep. That was on the Alaska Triangle last night that they were talking about that.
And this guy's finding where there are no roads and roads have not been there. Finding these trees are uprooted and slammed back down into the ground. So there's no way somebody brought in heavy equipment and did it.
Because, I mean, as fragile as some of that vegetation is, you would see heavy machinery tracks coming in there to do that, for sure.
And if they're getting this aggressive and they're right about them trying to retake the island, we could be looking at possibly the next Port Chatham.
Yeah, because that's totally nobody's even on that island anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean,
there's that show that they've got Alaskan Killer Bigfoot where they're supposedly trying to reclaim Port Chatham.
Yeah.
I watched the first season. Not sure I'm going to watch the second season. It was just a little hokey. I don't really think it was but basically, anytime you see any of these shows on TV, and this is something we all have to bear in mind, any of these shows that are on these networks, they're there for ratings. They're not necessarily there to give you
Yep.
factual, true stories.
Right.
They're
It's
there
all about
to sell.
drama.
It's all about ratings and making advertising money. So these shows are there to have a story and to keep people watching and generate ad revenue. So we're not going to see what I would really call accurate cryptozoology on any of these shows.
Drama equals ratings.
Like finding
Exactly.
Finding Bigfoot. They're all experts on that show. Come on. Well,
There are no experts. Anybody that
Exactly.
claims they're an expert on anything in cryptozoology is a bald-faced liar. All we have is theory and conjecture. I've been digging into Bigfoot and even Dogman for more than a decade. I've been digging into Bigfoot since the late 70s. I've got decades of accounts I've taken, stories I've read, podcasts, documentaries, everything I could get my hands on the subject. And I would no way, in any way, shape, or form, make any claim of being any kind of expert.
right.
My opinion is just that. It's my opinion. It might be based on things I've observed or things I've collected, but it is still an opinion. It's a theory. That's all any of us have, and that's all we're gonna have until it's scientifically accepted. And unfortunately, as sad as it is to say, it's probably going to take a body. And at which point, then it's the British Museum. Oh, yes, we knew they existed. Get to name it. I saw it first. We're going to name it after me.
Correct on, then.
Yeah. Them doing studies on it. That's something, same thing. I mean, they got to just like what's your name did with the gorillas, you know.
Yeah, and Eddie has a good question. I live in Illinois. Are there any hot spots I can visit out in Illinois out here?
Yes, there are. There was a pretty famous encounter called I believe it's the Minerva Monster. No, the Minerva Monsters in Ohio. I'll have to look it up, but there's a number of famous accounts from Illinois. In fact, there's one I heard from Illinois that was a Wendigo story, which was pretty intriguing. This girl, she was of Native American descent. Her grandmother had always told her not to whistle after dark, and she let her dog out, and it was in a fenced yard, and she couldn't find it, so she was whistling for the dog, and she heard this creature coming toward her, and it stalked her house that entire night. She described it as a Wendigo. Had the skeletal face and the antlers. It stayed around her house all night. And kept coming back around her house for a good long while. She eventually had to have a shaman from her tribe come bless the house before it would leave her alone. But the Native Americans say don't whistle in the woods after dark because something's going to answer you. And also, if you're in the woods and you hear your name called, don't answer it. Don't go looking for it.
That's a game call.
There are a lot of Illinois stories. I'm trying to remember the name of the one. It was pretty famous. It's going to drive me nuts. Let me Google it.
Mark Napier, leave your snowmobile at home if you're checking out the Wendigo sightings. Factually accurate, Mark. 100% factually accurate, sir. Yeah, I mean, if you whistle outside, those things, the Wendigo are known to be great mimics of the voice, and that's like a game call. That's all it is. It's a game call.
Eddie, look up the incident on YouTube. You'll find a lot of stories on it. Look up the incident with the big muddy monster. That's in Illinois, and there are a number of others, especially when you start getting north of Chicago, up where it's close to the state line and the lake. When it's starting to get up near the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, Wisconsin area up there, there are a lot of accounts up in that area. In fact, I've even heard a couple of stories where people had sighted dogman-like creatures within the city limits of Chicago.
Wow.
And there was a really good one inside that came from L.A. that they believed it was using the L.A. River to get into town.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Several people saw it digging through a trash can.
Weird. I'm trying to find that one comment she put. Who's that lady? What is she? Native American, right? Yeah.
Werewolf 5674 says in Alaska Killer Bigfoot, it seemed obvious they needed to drive up the mountain if they wanted to make sure there was something up there, and they weren't going to do that. Yeah. The only time in that first season of Alaskan Killer Bigfoot where I really felt like something was there was one of the first episodes. I think it was the first episode where they had to spend the night in that old abandoned cabin, and you could hear something pacing around the cabin they were in. Mm-hmm. But it could have just as easily been one of the camera crew out there making noise. So take anything you watch on any of these cryptid shows on the networks, take it with a grain of salt. You're going to find more factual information on podcasts, unfortunately.
Awissa has, yeah.
That would be cool. If you could find those and get some of those bones to a lab. John Doe says, "Don't go looking for giant cannibal monsters. You might not like what you find."
Yeah.
Eddie says the O'Hare Airport UFO sighting is also wild. Yeah, there have been a lot of Mothman sightings in and around Chicago here lately. If you Google Chicago Mothman, there are a couple of websites dedicated to it. Mothman's been sighted in and around the Chicago area for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and what Awissa said about the lung infection, John Doe just said that they suffer from respiratory diseases. So
you should get her on the show, man. She might be.
I'd have to do that. Mark Napier says, "Have you heard of any recent Bigfoot or Dogman sightings in Kentucky other than the LBL?" Most of the ones I've heard are in eastern Kentucky, up near Harlan. And a lot of stuff in the Appalachian Trail. There's one they call sheep squatch up there, which I think is just like a Bigfoot that probably has curly hair, because they describe it as being Bigfoot-like with curly hair. But I don't think it's an actual sheep-headed Sasquatch. I just think it's a Sasquatch. Maybe, and they even said it has kind of a snout. It might be a Gugwe. But that's been seen a lot. A lot of Bigfoot sightings, especially in eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee. A lot of disappearances along the Appalachian Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Harris has a good point. Kolchak was in Chicago. Werewolf 5674 says, "If anybody would like to help me with my research, I will put a GPS collar on you and send you looking for them and keep an eye on you, then we'll know." If you find the collar in a pile of scat, we'll know what happened. Whew. Boy, howdy, fellas. We're at the 3 hour mark.
3 hours.
Holy moly.
Whew, I know, man.
Well, folks, we probably ought to start wrapping things up. It's the 3 hour mark. I'm sure the wife is wondering because she prefers me to keep it to around the 2 hour mark so we can eat dinner at a reasonable time. Because we eat late anyway because I'm a night owl. But probably ought to start wrapping things up before I start getting text messages like, "Hey, when are you going to wrap this up?" Hey, I'll start getting those pretty soon if I haven't already.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was an awesome show tonight. We want to thank Ryan for coming on.
Yeah.
A lot of great information there. We're definitely going to have him back. Corey Cole says, "DA, did you get a chance to look at that pic I sent you?" I'm trying to remember which one it was. I know I still got it in my email. Let me find it. I am not finding it. I'm sure I've got it somewhere. My email gets cluttered up pretty fast. If you want to send it to me again, go ahead, just in case, because I misplace crap all the time. I'm pretty scatterbrained. But I probably did get a chance to look at it, but I'm drawing a blank right now. But I hope you guys you don't take that personally, because my wife says I'll lose my head if it wasn't attached. So if you don't mind sending that to me again, I would love to check it out. I may have already seen it, but again, right off the top of my head, I'm drawing a complete blank, and I apologize about that. Wisconsin says, great, awesome show tonight, DA. Thank you so much. Blue Cruz says creepypasta has really mucked up the description of cryptids and humanoids, such as the Wendigo, in my opinion. I agree. Creepypastas really kind of annoy me. I may do a show about creepypastas, but a lot of it is just to debunk them. But we may do a show on that at some point. Oh, hey, cool. We got another super chat. Eddie Rodriguez says,
"Awesome.
Keep doing what you're doing, brother." Thank you, man, so much. I appreciate that.
Very nice.
This is a group effort. I got a lot of good people. Anthony, brother, I really appreciate you. You help out so much. and you really jumped in when I really needed the help. And Doc, my brother from another mother, you crazy little thing, you.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, yep. I can't wait. We have got to get into that Combs Ferry campground. I cannot wait to get in there.
We will.
I want to shoot some video in there, and heck, I'd like to get in there at night. We may have to do it with a boat, though.
The thing with thermal too, I've got that thermal slaved to my phone, so we can anything we record, we can take footage, screenshots, anything like that off the thermal, and it's really, really good. Talking about what Blues Crew says, I think a lot of these dudes do sensationalism over science and facts. You know, and DA, he was a police officer, he was law enforcement. So, and I've been in the medical field all my life, you know, and Anthony, he's the same way. He's like, we like facts. We like facts over sensationalism or drama, because that is what is going to sell people, other than conjecture and assumptions.
Well, while I do write fictionalized stories, and people may try to discredit my research because I write fiction, but it's the years of research that I've put into cryptids that I use to create the behaviors of the monsters I write about in the books. So I try to make the fictional stories as close to actual behaviors as I can get, and hopefully I've captured that and keep the action going as well. But I write fiction because I love telling stories. However, when we do shows like this and talk about cryptids, I'm not creating fiction here. I'm legit bringing stuff that I found through research or observed. So there's a very big distinction between what I write and what I research. And we're definitely going to be bringing you guys more videos. If you haven't had a chance to, if you're a member of the channel or a member of the Patreon, there's a new video up that I shot in Moon Valley down here in Missouri. That's an exclusive video for the Patreon and the channel members. If you want to join the channel, you can hit that join button down at the bottom of the YouTube screen. That's right next to the subscribe. Also, if you haven't subscribed, hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to join the Patreon community, there's multiple levels you can do that. That's at patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor. And you can by becoming a member of the Patreon, you can help shape the future of the books. You'll have input on story ideas, input on covers. You'll get access to things that everybody else isn't getting. So I hope you guys will check that out as well. Corey Cole said, "Send it, awesome." Brian Merrick says, "I've been wondering how Sasquatch are getting on in Ukraine and hoping they get a hold of some of those Russians." That's funny.
Yeah.
Bigfoot finding an abandoned SAM site. Bigfoot near Chernobyl. There's a terrifying thought. Oh, Wisconsin says, "I've had Bigfoot watch me plant a game camera and then they would move their path around it. They're very smart." I can see that. I mean, they're very intelligent creatures. They're masters of their domain. Brian Merrick says, "South Illinois is where I hear a lot of stories." That's correct. John Doe says, "Creepypastas did to crawlers, pale humanoids, Wendigo, Goatman what Dracula did to vampires." Pretty much, it's over sensationalized. And it's just shock factor stories, which I don't go for in my books. I don't just go for the lurid content. What I write, there's the violence and gore is part of the story.
Exactly. It's like what Doc said. Fact. You got to have it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, I think that's the reason people love your books too so much.
Right.
DA, is because you I mean, it's a work of fiction, but it's believable, because you're not sitting there with some kind of, using the swag method. Y'all know what the swag method is? Scientific wild ass guess.
Yeah.
So he's not just pulling stuff out of his posterior region, his fourth point of contact.
It's not even just possible. I mean, there's been comments made to him about, special op teams doing all this stuff. I mean, come on. Gotta be.
I actually got a phone call from a buddy of mine after the first Codename Wild Hunt book came out. And he's like, "Hey, brother, I'm not sure where you're getting your intel, but you've made a few people nervous." I'm like,
exactly.
He's like, "You hit a little too close to home on a couple of things." He's still in the Special Forces community. I'm like, "What do you mean I hit a little too close to home?" He's like, "Where did you hear about some of this stuff?" I'm like, "I just kind of made it up." He's like, no, you didn't. It's too accurate. Where did you hear about it? Seriously. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, I just took stories that I'd heard and extrapolated what I thought was logical based on those stories. He's like, well, you Tom Clancy'd it, which is what Tom Clancy did with Hunt for Red October. He took what they publicly admitted submarines can do, and he took a leap and just guessed. And the CIA actually interviewed him over the book, The Hunt for Red October. They're like, where did you get your information? He's like, Library of Congress, and then I just extrapolated. If you're willing to admit it does this, I bet it can do this. We're like, well, you're a little too close to home for comfort.
Yeah. Well, they got guys coming forward now. Former special ops guys coming forward saying, hey, we did this, we did that. I mean, come on.
That's what a master of his craft does, man.
Well, thank you, brother. I sure appreciate that.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome, bro.
Corey, I got that image. We'll talk about that more on Saturday. I'll bring that image up and get it loaded. I've kind of got to go back through my restream and delete some images because I tried to upload it and it said I've reached my maximum allowable images. I'm like, crap. So it would take me a few minutes to sort some things out and get that uploaded. So we'll talk about that later. It is a really cool image. We'll dig into that. Alyssa says I've had special ops people in plain clothes in some of my tracked areas now and again. The government's aware of these things. They know they're out there. And I'm firmly believe in that, and they're not going to convince me they don't.
Again, 411 missing child. Why are there special operations searching for a kid?
Exactly. And a really good thing about the 411 is he talks about the missing 411 cases. He talks about how tracking dogs refuse to follow the scent.
Exactly.
That's unheard of. Those dogs live for the track. I've worked with police dogs that were trained to track people. Those dogs cannot wait to get out of the truck to run a track.
Right.
And for dogs to hit the scent and then sit down like, screw that, I'm not following it. That's something nasty.
Yeah.
Right.
Dim Bones says, great show tonight, DA, Anthony and Carrie Glenn.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. I appreciate that, brother. I'm gonna kick you in the nuts when I see you in a couple of weeks. Out of
brotherly love.
Brotherly love. That's exactly what I was gonna say, Anthony.
John Doe says, and you wonder why the government can get touchy about information. That's why I think it's going to be dangerous to come forward with a body. Yeah. I think if you do produce a body, it's going to get taken from you and you're going to get told to shut the hell up. At least until they're willing to admit they exist. John Doe says, if Tom Clancy could figure it out, he could figure it out, others could as well. Scribble says, so that's how you spell Gugwe.
Hence the name Scribbles.
Tony Harris says, good night, everyone. 4.5 hour drive tomorrow morning. Stay safe. Drive careful, be safe, be careful. And hopefully, again, we'll see you guys on Saturday night. I want to say real quick, thank you guys again. I appreciate all the love and support we get on this channel. It is like a family here. I've said it. I'll keep saying it. We don't have fans. We have friends. We love hanging out with you guys, and this is a team effort. I will not take credit for the success of this channel. It's been a team effort by a lot of very good people. Carrie's been involved. Anthony's involved now. Naoma was involved for the longest time. Steve Wildman Monrodis, my brother from another mother, is involved. He's on vacation this week, so you won't see him Saturday. He'll be back the following week. He's in the Caribbean. And he was texting me pictures of drinks. I'm like, asshole, I want to be there with you.
Yeah, right.
Not it. Lost my train of thought. We had a lot of amazing people help along the way, and you all have helped as well. And every time you hit that subscribe and like button or you share the video, it helps the channel grow that much more. The super chats are amazing. I want to thank you guys so much for those. Those help us get new equipment. It helps us to go film in other places. Those help us out a lot. We appreciate you guys so much. Hope you guys will check out the books at daroberts.net if you hadn't had a chance to read the books. We are working on getting more of them in audio and hope those will be coming soon. So, bear with us for a little bit. Hopefully we'll have more of them out in the very near future. And I've said it many times and I will continue to say it. Stories are journeys we take together. And I am blessed and humbled and so grateful that each and every one of you have chosen to take this journey with us. So hopefully we will see you guys on Saturday night. And Anthony, who are our guests going to be on Saturday night, by the way?
Jamie and Mark Zaski. I hope I'm saying that right. From 168.
From the documentary, the 168.
Bigfoot Odyssey, yeah, with Carrie Arnold, yes.
Oh, nice.
We had Carrie on the show,
Yeah.
so now we're going to have some of the other guys. So this is going to be a great show on Saturday night. We're going to be talking some serious Bigfoot, and we're going to hear some of the stuff that happened that didn't make it onto the documentary. So hope you guys will tune in. Then it's going to be a great show.
Kick-ass show Saturday, yeah, it will be.
We're going to have a good time with it. Much love and respect, guys. Much love to everybody. I appreciate you guys so much, and it has been a wonderful night. Ryan was an awesome guest, and he is welcome back at any time. And I genuinely love doing these shows. I'm learning new things constantly, and anybody in the field of cryptozoology who is not constantly trying to learn something new, who thinks they know everything, will eventually find they know nothing.
100%. There's a saying we have. I've been teaching adult learners since 1992, and the best instructor is one who's always a student.
Got to always be a student.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with writing. You've got to always be studying your craft. The best writers are readers themselves, and I read constantly. I've got crap tons of books. My wife is the same way. She's constantly got a book. Hey, beautiful dog there, man.
Yeah, that's my male.
What's his name?
Boss.
Hey, boss. What's up, boss?
Cameron. Like, yeah, whatever. I'm getting down now.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Sweet pity.
Well, anyway, thank you guys again. I had to take a dog moment. You will never find a moment where I don't enjoy talking to dogs. Dogs are the best.
Those are my kids.
Don't deserve dogs.
Yeah, those are my kids.
Well, folks, again, thank you guys for being here. We're going to wrap this up. I know we're going to finally get to it. It's a long wrap up. Thank each and every one of you guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, share the video, hit that little bell icon, and hopefully you'll join us as a member of the channel and over at the Patreon as well. So, again, much love to you guys. Thank you guys so much for being part of the family here at the AX Machina, and we will see you guys on Saturday night. Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Night, y'all.
Thank you for joining us tonight on DAX Machina. If you ever have an encounter of your own that you wish to discuss, contact us at daroberts@daroberts.net. You can remain completely anonymous if you wish. Pull your covers up tight and keep a nightlight burning bright. Oh, and did you forget to lock your doors?
Uh-huh.